There we go. I was waiting for you to get the second one in. Welcome to Detour Ahead, everybody. Definitely not on hiatus. Hiatus isn't even a word that we understand. I'm
Never
Kolochu, aka
happened.
Alex. And with me is Riely. Welcome back. 54 episodes in. 54.
That's right. You need to stop shaking your fucking wine and ice around there,
Can you hear
sister.
it? Is it picking up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll stop shaking the wine around. I'm sorry. So I was doing a bunch of tests before the podcast, just in
I can.
case.
But the thing is, I can't hear it. That's how noise cancellation works. Is I can't hear it when you just do it, but
But
if
you
you're
can hear it when I'm
talking
talking.
and you do it, yes.
Okay.
That's the complexities of the situation.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Detour
Hey
Ahead.
guys, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. How you doing, Riely? How's your life been?
Oh, fucking terrible. I'll tell you what, for no particular reason. I don't have any stories for you. I just, I've made it clear. I'm in my downward spiral arc. It's here. It's real. But Detour Ahead, never going anywhere. Detour Ahead
Never
is the
going
one
anywhere.
thing. The one constant in my life as everything else falls apart. As only one or two people have showed up to the issue crew consistently for like 4 weeks now. And as my job continues to become more and more stressful, Detour Ahead, I know it's just me and Alex. We're gonna have a funny little time.
It's the only constant in both our lives, huh?
Yep, exactly.
It almost didn't exist. Hypothetically, we don't know the word
Hypothetically, in this
hiatus.
fake scenario where maybe we're gonna be on hiatus, which isn't real because we would never even consider such a thing.
No. I can tell a little brief story because we're joking about it.
Okay.
So I'm currently living with a friend. But I'm not gonna go into detail about that. I'm currently living with a friend, so I'm in my own little bunker now. I got a basement. All my shit is in storage. Lots of things have happened this past week. I'm not gonna talk about them here, but in the midst of moving out, I panically, in a panic, texted you, Riely. Hey,
Yep.
I don't know if I'm gonna have access to internet or anything for the next month. The podcast might have to go on hiatus. Now I'm panicked at the time, so I finally get settled in. I get my PC set up, and I text you. Let's do a sound test and see if I can actually get this to work. And we did
folks,
that
I just want you to know
last night, and we're here. It's gonna stay weekly. This will always be a weekly podcast unless I am stolen or kidnapped or murdered.
I want you to understand, listeners, that because some people may not know, some people might be new here. We're available on all these hip platforms, and we're trying to get our name out there. So if any new people are listening to this, the last time Alex needed to quote unquote go on a hiatus, it did not end well for that podcast.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Did you actually panic for those few days?
I wasn't like, at this point I feel like you're beyond the Peg and Color board days, but there exists that little tinge of
The random again. I'm gone for months. To be fair, I've been good for the past year and a half, 2 years.
Yes, Alex used to do this thing even beyond our old podcast Peg and Color board, which was just this but infinitely shittier. You needed to go on hiatus because I think there was another IRL thing going on with you. It might have been a breakup or something. I don't quite remember the details.
I don't. There were too many hiatuses going on. I would just kind of dissociate, and it was a lot of depression.
There was a lot of general hiatusing, but this was a planned hiatus. You were like, "Let's go on hiatus" because I'm dealing with stuff. And then even when you were back, you're like, "We're not doing that shit again. Fuck you."
That's right. Okay, that hiatus. We have to clarify which one,
because if you go look at the hiatus where you said you were going on hiatus channel, and then you never brought it back.
If you look on the YouTube channel, there's at least 2 hiatuses just with video uploads, just sitting there where if you look at the dates between videos, you'll find that there's like a year gap and then there's another year gap somewhere. So I've taken I am a I'm no longer a creature of hiatuses. I don't know I've de-learned the meaning of the word hiatus. I've de-learned it. I didn't think de-learning was a thing, but I'm replacing the definition for hiatus for de-learn because de-learned is now an actual word in our vocabulary. We don't
To
know
be
what
honest, I feel like
hiatus means.
I would value from the opposite shift. I admire I admire and respect your past ability to just guiltlessly disassociate with the internet for months at a time. And
It's a
doing
very hard thing to do for some
do,
people
doing that it would be fucking impossible for me.
because you run so much shit. You have so much shit going on.
Even
It
if I
would
like
be it
didn't
would
care
hurt
about all
you.
that shit, I would still be fucking magnetized towards the internet just to fucking talk to my friends.
I mean, fair, but no, we've been going for what? We're almost at a full year strong, aren't we?
I think there was like one fringe missed week a bit more recently than that.
There was the time where you and Crow did it without me because I got stolen.
That's true.
Did we miss a full week after I got back from vacation, even though we did time traveling?
Yes, we did that did
Yes.
happen.
Yes, okay. So,
We did time traveling to avoid missing a
well,
week. And then
to be fair,
after
that
all
was
of
in
that effort
January.
where
If
we
we make it to
recorded
February weekly,
I
we're
feel
going
like there's
strong.
been
We're
one
going really
more.
strong.
I feel
This
like
has
there was
been
one more week that we
generally
missed.
weekly for the most part.
For the most part, yes, but I feel like there was one more week we missed a bit more recently that we're not remembering.
I don't think so. I think we've been weekly.
Hold on, I
I
mean,
think
I can solve this mystery. I don't have to sit here and speculate like a fucking idiot with my dick between my legs. I can just go to Anchor and fucking figure it out. Or I'm sorry, Spotify for podcasters. I don't want to dead name this fucking application. I'm so pissed about that. I don't know why I'm pissed about that. I shouldn't care. In fact, the app has gotten better since the change.
what
But
Stitcher or
or
what?
Anchor or Spotify for podcasters as it is now.
Oh, Anchor.fm.
Yes, formerly Anchor.fm, currently
Ah,
podcasters.spotify.com.
that's right.
But I still call it Anchor, especially because Anchor links still work perfectly. And I think they're a lot catchier. I think anchor.fm/detour ahead is a lot catchier than podcasters.spotify.com/show/detour ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you could always just be like Spotify, go Detour ahead on Spotify, Apple Podcasts too. But
Yeah, I guess I have a little bit more faith in humanity than most people, where I think they're not smooth brains enough that they would be able to click on anchor.fm and then from there click on the link to Spotify or Apple Podcasts because it collects them both into one central place. So that's what you would link to in theory if people weren't too stupid to click on two links, as they often are, according to internet experts.
okay. I would like to say we're now weekly on. As of this episode, we are now weekly on the Colicha YouTube channel.
That's right. With this is well, I
This
guess
is
it's the
officially
second
calling
one.
it weekly because last week's episode 53 went up in tandem with everything else. It went out on every platform, including my YouTube channel.
Okay, it's looking
This
like
one solidifies the term weekly. We're now weekly because this will be the second episode
I'll
that
be
came out
damned, you're right.
on time.
I
What?
think the last time we missed one was the post time travel one.
Back in January?
Yeah, so we did the Christmas episode that came out on the 25th, and then Vacations came out on the 11th. And we've been weekly since then, as far as I can tell. No. We did miss another week
Did we?
immediately afterward. So
Okay.
then
So
from
outside
the
of
11th to the
January,
25th, we missed one, and then so from the 25th onward, the 25th of
so
January, we've
we've
been
been
weekly.
weekly since February.
Yes, basically.
We've been weekly for 8 months straight. That's crazy.
It's impressive. All right, enough of self-congratulatory jerk-off session 2. We
No,
don't
no,
need
no,
that.
it's fine. It's fine. I wanted to say why we were joking about a hiatus. There is no hiatus for the show. I don't even know what hiatus means.
Not even a real
It's a
word.
fun word. It's not a real word. Go look in your guys's go get your parents your grandparents the thesaurus or your parents dictionary
Rip
or
out the
someone.
page. Rip out the page. Rip out the fucking page. Pour gasoline on it. Set on fire.
Well, we don't need dictionaries or thesauruses anyway because we have Google. So
Exactly.
let's burn books. I will say, Riely, congratulations. YouTube did not. I did not get a strike for the most cancelable episode going up on YouTube.
Good. Good.
Now, we shall see
About episode 53. Yeah. About
about
last week.
episode 53 from last week. We'll see about that.
I
That
don't think
goes
we
up.
said anything take off of YouTubeable in that episode.
No, but YouTube doesn't like right wing
Yeah, but they don't
free
just ban people for
speechery.
being on the right. They ban people for making fun of fat women or saying racial slurs. Like they don't just ban people for being on the right.
Oh, that's right.
Not that I'm saying I support those bans, by the way. Like even like there's always a reason though. You can't just ban somebody for being on the right.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I got a strike for what I did on 52.
What did you do on 52?
Went against Mark Sargent, the asshole,
You didn't
and
say
talked
anything
about.
that bad. You're talking about like you think you said something crazy. I don't remember you saying like anything of note. You just said you hated him and you didn't want him to be
Yeah,
alive
but
anymore, which is fine.
I also called everything that he believes in dumb and stupid and idiotic, like all that flat earthery.
They're not going to ban you on YouTube because you said flat Earth is stupid. That's the coldest take
No, that's
in
not what I said.
history.
That's not what I said. I said flat earthery is dumb and stupid, not flat earth, flat earthery.
Yes. Again,
No,
coldest
no, we're
take.
good. Dude, I'm big chilling on YouTube. I'm the biggest free speech activist. I can say whatever I
Wow,
want. I
the
feel so
biggest one,
powerful.
I'm sure.
The smallest free speech activist. The
Yeah, probably
smallest
true.
free speech absolutist. Nobody has DM'd me about my words on 52. I'm sure I'm hoping someone comes at me for 53.
It's going to be Demi Gloom.
Oh, I know Demi Gloom. Demi Gloom already hit me up to do something on the podcast, on her podcast. And I told her I didn't
God,
know when things were gonna be up and running, but
that motherfucker.
I don't know what it was or what it was for.
Oh, I thought she mentioned something specifically about. Never mind. I
No.
didn't say anything. I didn't say
No, I
anything.
don't
Not
remember. It
real.
had something to do with me going on her podcast or something. I don't fucking know. I don't remember.
Forget I said anything. Don't lead into anything I just said.
Anyway, I'm sure anything that was said is going to be rescinded and taken away
I'll admit, you know what,
immediately
Alex?
after 53 comes out.
Alex, you're my friend. You're not like I don't have to be afraid of you. I'll just admit to you the sin that I committed. I told Demi Gloom what you said on that podcast, and I told her not to say anything to you about it until the podcast came out, so I could feign that she heard it on the podcast.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Might get drunk Colo Chew. We'll see. We'll see how quickly this goes.
Put on a karaoke song. See how quickly she gets on the floor.
So
So our topic today, folks.
Yeah, topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
So
just gonna say I'm drinking pink Moscato and the bottle's almost gone.
oh hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you know those like $5 barefoot bottles that you see in gas stations?
hmm
Yeah, it's almost gone.
So our topic today is Lolcows. Now, before we get to obviously, me and Alex now mutually follow a podcast that has extensively talked about Lolcows.
More you than me.
What do you mean? You're a fucking machine over there. You've listened to fucking.
No. I meant like I don't follow the current podcast. I don't follow the weekly episodes. I don't follow new
No,
episodes.
you're right. I'm not just talking about current stuff.
However,
Just in
I am
general.
chugging along. I'm at 213, almost
That's true.
214.
Just in general, Lolcows. I mean, just throughout the years. So obviously we have a couple particular people that we will iron in on due to that podcast. But I want to know, did you have any exposure to any Lolcows or Lolcow culture prior to getting into the Dick Show? Like, was that a familiar concept to you? Could you think of any
Lolcow?
examples of somebody who you would consider a Lolcow, like from before then? Just like what was your relationship with Lolcows prior to the Dick Show?
All right, let's put a definition out there for people who may not know what a lolcow is. Let's do that first, okay? You want to do that? You want to give a little definition of what a lolcow is for our
So
listeners
lolcow
who may or may not know?
A lolcow is basically somebody on the internet. It's a term for internet people or just people who are being followed by the internet. They don't necessarily have to be internet people themselves, but people who are so pathetic and like crazy that it's hilarious. Like people who you're not laughing with them, you're laughing at them. That's what a lolcow is.
I don't think I've had any interactions or known about like lolcows previously to my introduction to biggest problem, the Dick Masterson Maddox lore and everything surrounding all of them, both of them, I should say.
The ultimate lolcow. I would go out to say, I don't think there's a lolcow out there greater than Maddox. I think he is the lolcow.
I don't think I've experienced that. Like the closest I have is like, I don't know. I don't like the term lolcow is specifically for the internet, so I can't really relate it to like real life outside without bringing.
If you had an
bullying.
IRL lolcow, if you had a friend who you just like tortured and then laughed at for memes, I want to hear about your IRL lolcow too.
I mean, it was more so just like I don't know, like because I don't want.
Tell me about how you bullied a person.
I mean, I already told the story about how I decked this fucking third grader in the face when I back in school.
Okay.
Yeah,
were you also a third grader?
Yes, okay. I told that on the Catholic school episode.
Because you're right. Because when you say back in school, that could mean you were like a senior in high school.
Well, I mean, I was
a third grader.
Look, I was taking on the challenge. How many third graders can you take on? Turns out it's only one, but I won. No, I mean, like, I don't really have that many experiences with lolcows. I didn't really like act. Most of my life, I've been the one who people made fun of, but like it was more of a bullying aspect than lolcow.
I mean, lolcows are kind of large-scale bullying. It's just usually directed toward people that deserve it.
See, I never really deserved it, so that's why I'm having trouble like trying to relate to it.
Yeah, I guess that would be like I was like, is IRL lolcow just like being a bully? But like, I think it's specifically being a bully to somebody who deserves it.
Yeah. I mean, not. I mean,
what? What do you mean?
I'm trying to think. No, let's go with no. Let's go with no. I haven't had it. Let's go with no. No is the safest option here.
Were you not exposed to like Chris Chan or anything like that?
No, I was very like internet sheltered as a child.
You know about Chris Chan now, though, right?
Yeah, I know them. Her is it? It's her now?
It's her.
Okay, now. I didn't know if it was changed or not. I knew about Chris Chan going to changing pronouns to she, her.
And drawing a comic about Sonic and Pikachu combined. And
yeah, I know about Sonichu.
Allegedly, you might not know this part because this happened much more recently. So if you heard about Chris Chan on the Dick Show, this might not have happened yet. She did.
Wait. Chris Chan is on the Dick Show?
They talked about Chris Chan on the Dick Show.
Yeah, I know about that. There was a whole episode about that. Like, I listened to that a couple months ago.
Yes, but what you probably don't know, unless you heard this on the news just separately, Chris Chan did allegedly, because she did get let off in court, so I don't know what the story is. But allegedly, she did rape her mom.
Really?
Yes.
How long? Wasn't that like a couple years ago?
That was like last year, I think.
Yeah, like a year or two ago. Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, and I don't, because she got let off. Like, I think she got like acquitted. So I don't know what the story is. I don't know if she like lied about it, or like I don't know what the, or like she did it and she just got let off might be the thing. I don't know
I
what
mean,
it
it
was.
could be a mental health thing too. Like
Yeah, maybe she was just
she
let off
didn't
because
know
she's a
what she
fucking
was
nutcase,
doing.
but she isn't like, if she got let off because she was a nutcase, she would probably be in an asylum, and she's not. She's just free.
But I mean, at the same time, it could have been like she didn't know what she was doing, but it was like a self-defense thing. Because if you remember from, well, no, if you like, if you heard what all I know is from what happened on the Dick Show. All right, so that's all my information about Chris Chan. Um, but like, and Chris Chan's mom was like asking for a bunch of money and everything, and a bunch of people were extorting her and stuff like that way back when. So
Oh. Some like gangbanger she was in debt with framed her daughter for rape.
look, I
Wow.
don't know. I don't know all the specifics to it, so I can't really comment on it. I'm not like protecting a rapist. I am not a rape apologist
Yeah, I don't know.
or anything
I
like
like, I
that.
was
So,
definitely willing to believe she did it. I just find it weird that if
oh
she
well,
did get it, she
yeah.
got let off. Like, I don't know. So I don't know what the story is. Now I'm confused.
I don't know what the story is either. I just know that a lot of people online, ever since Chris Chan's dad passed, a lot of people were like taking aim at them and were taking aim at Chris and just trying to extort her for money. And one of those people was Chris Chan's mom as well. Not like actively, but like just trying to pay bills and stuff because the dad was the breadwinner. So, like, I'm not saying it was out of self defense. It could have been out of rage, but Chris Chan is also has some mental health issues. So, like, I don't really think that the court had time to go and like look through everything. You
Wait a
know what I
minute.
mean?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you trying to claim? Wait. I think we have a disconnect here. Or maybe you're making a joke and I'm supposed to be laughing, but instead I'm questioning it because I'm confused. Are you saying that the alleged crime that Chris Chan committed was done in self-defense? she
No. I'm not.
Oh.
I should have never said self defense. It's not a whether it like.
Oh no, she's coming right at me. Whatever shall I do?
Oh my god. It wasn't out of self defense. All right. I don't know all the details. I'm trying to
There's
comment on
only
a
one way I
situation that
can
I don't
stop
know
her.
about.
The only way I know how.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyway. All right. Let's back this up. Let's go back. Let's go back to what we were talking about. Lolcows. Lolcows. All right. Lolcows. I have no personal experience with them. As long
Okay,
as you don't count me getting everybody to gang up on you because I thought it was funny.
that's true. I was your lolcow.
Like
I
like me being the best host of PVH.
that's still
Is that a
good.
good example?
Yeah, considering I have like long-standing PTSD from it to this day, where I refuse to let anybody else host my podcast, fearing this scenario.
Oh man, I really screwed that up for you, huh?
Yes. Whenever other issue crew people always cry about how I never let them do the intro and I never let them host the show or whatever, fucking point them right to you. It was your fault. You
I mean,
ruined me.
to be fair, we've been good with like interchanging openings with this show. I mean, you do a majority of them, but that's just because I can't think of anything.
I
But
mean,
like I've done
I
a
think
few of them.
we're pretty equal partners in this show. Like there's no definitive owner of
I'm
this
sorry.
show, I feel
I'm
like.
sorry. Can you repeat everything you just said very clearly and slowly?
that we are two completely equal entities in this podcast. There's not one person who controls it more than the other. If there were a
There you
trademark
go.
lawsuit in court where one
There
of
you go.
us tried to fully claim the copyright for ourselves, it would not be valid as we are 50% equal parties.
There you go. But just in case you come after me because I sleep with the girlfriend of 3 that you broke up 3-4 years ago. All right.
Well,
Just in
that would take
case.
at least 3 or 4 years for that to be possible to happen. So
Well, you'd have to 1 find a girl to date. 2
to break up with
break
her or
up with
get broken
her.
up with, and then 3
3
have 3 or 4
obsess
years go
over
by
her
and obsess
over the
over
next
her.
3 to 4 years while also dating someone else.
I mean, I have the pathetic incel version where I've obsessed over a crush. If you dated like that one girl I obsessed over pretty recently, I would probably be pretty upset.
That is fair. That is fair. But
That
you
is
know,
like I
I
get
don't
way
bring
too
romantic
invested.
relationships into what I do online.
I get way too invested. I am like a pathetic incel. I get way too invested in crushes that I have like no business having, and are like
Like,
way out of my
are
league.
you like are you donating to like OnlyFans and stuff like that? Like,
No, no, no. Well, if they
or are
had one,
you
I
like
probably
a
would.
Twitch subscriber over here to Pokimane?
You know, sometimes I just get it bad, and I just like think
Oh,
about it a
okay.
lot, and it makes me
Okay.
sad.
So you didn't answer my question, so it's a yes. I got
I
it.
mean, first of all, none of these women are on Twitch. None of these women are on OnlyFans. This is real life people. I'm not talking about fake internet people. But if they had
Mhm.
OnlyFans, I would subscribe to them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
I would pay U.S. currency to see pictures of them naked, if that's what you're asking. Yes.
Oh my god. You gotta come up here, buddy. I'm gonna take you to strip club. We're gonna go have fun.
Maybe I need it.
Gives me an excuse to go look hot as shit and completely ignore you as a man,
Yeah.
and also enjoy a strip club. So I will put aside, like, if you come up here and we find like an okay establishment, there's not they're not great up here. They're not that
No,
good.
we can find. We can't. There aren't any great
Like,
ones, but we can find an all right one.
I've never been, but like I've seen buildings and I'm just like, yeah, no, that looks dirty. But we got to get, look, 2024, we're gonna get you laid, buddy. It's gonna be a version contest.
There we go. There we go.
We're gonna get Penguin involved. We're gonna.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's something she would be interested in personally.
Okay, okay. I'll talk to her. All
We'll
right.
figure it out. We'll have business
I'll
meetings regarding the
I'll
version
have my
contest.
people talk to Penguin's people, and we'll work out the logistics. All right.
Fair enough.
2024 is gonna be your year, buddy. It's time.
Okay,
How old are
let's
you?
see
Is
it.
that how old are you?
I'm 21, so I'll be. I don't know about you,
Perfect.
but I'll be feeling 22 in 2024.
Perfect age to go get laid. Worst case scenario, you lose your virginity to a stripper. All right.
I
I'm
do
just I'm
not.
just
I do not
I
have. I do not have the. I will never break a rule in my life. No,
I'm sorry. Is that a personal rule for you to fuck a stripper?
no.
Is that a
That's a rule
personal
with the
rule?
strip club where you can't fuck the strippers.
Okay, then I'll go get you a hooker. I don't care.
Well, I
You and
guess
I will fly out to
that's a
LA.
rule. That's a rule with the law, but like,
I'll go find a friend. Be like,
okay,
look, my buddy's
look,
down on
man.
his luck. He needs a confidence boost. Here's $200. Act interested. He's gonna take you back to the hotel that he's staying at.
Now, like,
If he
if I
doesn't,
get laid in Ohio, I have to like live with the question of did Alex pay this person to trick me?
well, I'll be honest with you.
After the fact,
So after the fact,
you just feel like you passed the test.
Of course I'm gonna tell you after the fact. If I tell you before, then you're not gonna be in the mood to do it.
I think you underestimate just how much of a desperate incel I am, buddy.
Well, you're
you
21. Of course you're gonna be desperate because you got a bunch of hormones running around like crazy.
true. I got all them. Yep.
You got all those 13-year-old hormones running around for some reason.
That's you. Listen, I am. I legitimately feel like I am like going through puberty late, just because like not like physical puberty, but like I was very like mellow and like respectful as like a young teenager, like when most people would be absolute terrors.
Like
And
a
it's
good
only
like
now
a
in these past couple
good
of
Christian
years.
boy. Like a little
Yes,
good Christian boy,
it's
yeah.
only now in these past couple of years that I've started to develop like my edgy, dark teenage personality.
A rebel. A rebellion.
That's right. Or just like being a dickhead, basically, is what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going through an alt-right phase. I don't think it's a phase, but I don't want to call it a phase. I shouldn't have called it a phase.
I don't think you should be calling it alt right.
Well, that's basically what everybody else is gonna call it. So, but like, I'm playing both sides here. All right, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay,
I'll always
okay.
come out on top. If the
True, so true.
if the left wins, if the left wins, and straight white males are put in internment camps, I'm not a straight white male. I'm not.
That's true.
But if the far right wins and says anybody who likes the colors of rainbow, anybody who likes rainbows, it's got to go in these camps, these little constant internment camps, because that's the correct word to use. We gotta segregate you all the way
We
over in
send them to
California.
camps where kids they have a they have a little bit of trouble with their homework 'cause they can't keep their
Let's
eyes on
just
the
say
paper.
they
And
might be run by Mike Pence.
we send them to a camp where they learn how to keep their eyes on the paper that they're working on. They learn a certain skill that is associated with that. I can't remember what it's called right now, but they go to a camp that teaches
Well,
that
I don't think
virtue.
they're going to be those. I think they're going to be called Pence camps.
Ah, okay.
Pence camps. Yeah, we'll send them all to Pence camps. Then I cut my hair and go, ah ha ha ha, just kidding, lol. No.
Just kidding. Hey, hey,
This is a
just kidding.
joke. This is a joke. Demi, this is
Just
a
kidding.
joke. Demi, this is a joke. I don't want you coming after me for 2 episodes in a row.
Just kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to play both sides here. If you look at me, you'll realize like stereotypically I should be on one side, but I figured out my morals and values before I figured out who I was. So there's a little back and forth with this whole situation that gets a little iffy sometimes, but I try and manage.
Fair enough.
Lolcows.
Yes. So
Lolcows. Have you?
I'm trying to remember if I really knew about any of them prior to like because a lot of the internet degenerate stuff I know I discovered somewhere in the YouTube sphere that I reached via like Dick Show adjacent people. Like
Okay.
the breaking of the
Actually,
seal was Monkey Jones, and then like Monkey Jones led me to some other YouTubers, and also to the Dick Show, which led me to other people as well. And the YouTube like band of people that I watched that I had built, it just introduced me to all the internet degeneracy that I now
I do have an
have
example for you.
encyclopedic knowledge of. What's your example?
This was covered in the Dick Show, so that's why it kind of escaped my brain. But this did happen, and I knew about this. I didn't participate, but I knew about this before the Dick Show.
Okay.
Back in 2019, when iDubbbz was called a simp for buying his girlfriend
Ah,
fake tits and
yes,
letting her go on
yes.
OnlyFans. I didn't participate, but I knew about like a majority of everything that happened, and that was basically the decline of his internet career.
So peace
Um,
iDubbbz.
Rest in peace. He still does some shit. Like, I
Yeah,
wish he would.
but like,
It's not good. He's not like this big internet personality. He kind of just does it for fun. Like his Minecraft stream, like he streams on Twitch now. Like, I don't want to say every day, but at least once a week, if not more. So like he's still present on the internet. It's just he went from this internet edgelord, someone who was able to say, well, not able to, but like didn't care what people thought of him. He went and did like outlandish things and things that a lot of people thought were funny. And then this thing with his girlfriend came out and everybody abandoned him. Like, I think he has a very small following now where they're just like, I like him because he's iDubbbz. And that's it.
Yeah, and then there was the more recent situation with iDubbbz that made everybody lose their remainder of respect for him when he banned Froggy Fresh from his boxing event because Froggy Fresh made a joke on Twitter about Nissa's OnlyFans, and also he was training with Sam Hyde, and iDubbbz does not like Sam Hyde, so for with those reasons combined,
He's
iDubbbz
basically
banned
just down in the
Froggy
gutter
Fresh.
at this point. Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
it's
he's a fucker.
sad. But like it's sad to see. Like, I think that like the yin and yang of that whole original group of Filthy Frank, iDubbbz, Max Mofo, anything for views, like that whole group, I think the genuine yin and yang here, where one went up and one went down, was iDubbbz just completely crashed while Filthy Frank basically gathered an enormous amount of support and following because of just the stupid asinine things he did on YouTube, and then with that following decided I'm going to go into music, and now everybody loves him. Like, people who know about his music career, Joji, they all all absolutely love his shit, everything.
Yeah,
And
I hear.
he's an amazing musician. He's I don't know if he's top chart, like I don't know if he's charted, but like a lot of people know him as Joji and don't even know that Filthy Frank existed. That's how popular he is nowadays.
Honestly, this might just be like pie in the sky because I'm a big fan of him. But honestly, from like observing the way that his content was booming and the way that like the group around him was becoming more like notable, I think like Monkey Jones and his merry band back in like 2018 and 2017, prior to his ban from YouTube, were becoming like the new that group. Cause like
I
Monkey was skyrocketing. They were doing a lot of similar things. Like I think a lot of people said this when they made Wheel of Punishment, which was a duology. They only ever did two because of IRL circumstances
yeah.
surrounding one of the contestants. But Wheel of Punishment was a game show where Monkey Jones, Rusty Cage, who you've definitely at least heard of one thing that he did. He is the guy who made the Knife Game song. Uh, and he's around. He's like one of Monkey's content friends. So it's Monkey Jones, Rusty Cage,
Mm.
and Monkey's friend Asperger. They did a game show where you spin a wheel, and the wheel gives you a punishment, like something that will cause you extreme pain or discomfort. And if you do the punishment, you get a point, and if you pussy out of the punishment, you don't get a point. And somebody else can steal the punishment to get another point.
Hey, hey, real quick,
Yeah.
say something.
Hi.
Ah, I fucked up.
You fucked up the backup, didn't you?
Yeah, I fucked up. The
God
backup
damn it.
isn't the backup. It's literally just me talking to myself this entire time. It's not picking up any desktop audio.
Well, let's hope the Bears hold out.
Oh, let's hope the Bears hold out. Oh my god. Well, I might as well just stop recording and delete it at this point. There's no point.
Fuck, what was I saying? You derailed me with your
I'm
mistakes.
sorry. I'm sorry. I had to tell you about my immediate failure here.
Yeah, but like they were doing like Wheel of Punishment and like other stuff. Monkey was blowing up with like his short film and other shit that he was up to. Like
His
I think
short
that
film, Monkeys.
Monkey Jones stops a school shooting. Yes. And he was on top of the world and like he was rising. He was 300K subscribers and growing, and then he got
Yeah.
unfairly and unjustly shot down by YouTube. Rest in peace. Even
I
though
mean,
he's fine now and he's back on YouTube, he has half the subscribers that he used to, even to this day, when he's had this new channel longer than he had his old one at this point, and he still does
I
not
don't think
even
people
have.
see the thing about getting deplatformed is I don't think people realize that they come back.
That's true. Exactly. Like there are probably plenty of people who are not like
Like there are
crazy
people out there
internet,
in the world
like
like hoping
it's
that
hard to believe.
Monkey Jones comes back, and they're like, "Man, I really miss that guy," and they have no idea that he's back on YouTube. Like,
It's hard to believe considering the circles we run in and the things that we see happen, but not everybody is so terminally online that they know the whereabouts of the YouTubers they like at all times. There are plenty of people who are probably just casual, normal YouTube enjoyers who have subscribed to Monkey Jones, and then Monkey Jones got terminated. And that was the end of this person's Monkey Jones story, because they're not
yeah,
crazy internet enough to like see his Twitter update on his weird ass Twitter account called Vincent Hates God because it's like his fourth Twitter account, and saying, "Hey, I got
it's like Dick
banned. Here's my
Masterson
new
with
channel."
LA-based comedian.
Yes,
Although, didn't LA-based comedian get banned at some point too?
it did. It got banned. Pretty. I was gonna say fairly recently, but no, he went through one more account after that. So
I
it was a
know
long time
he's
ago.
Dick Masterson on Twitter right
He's Dick
now.
Masterson now because in the big Elon Musk unban wave, he got his original account back.
Yeah,
But before that, he was under a bunch of ban evasion names. There was
I know the most notable was LA-based comedian.
LA-based comedian was the most notable and the longest, but that finally got banned at some point. And for a while, he was the Communist, the COOMUNIST, Communist.
I'm surprised
Uh,
he never went under the name Peen Wienerstein because he does throw that around
he probably
sometimes too.
did. I'm sure that was one of his very early ban evasion accounts.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I feel like that would have been number two. I feel
yeah,
like Dick Masterson got banned, and then Peen Wienerstein appears and starts talking like Dick Masterson. I really think I love the name Peen Wienerstein. It's so great. It's
it's
such,
pretty good.
but
But yeah, he was the Communist was his final ban evasion account, which I think also got banned. And then I think at that point he was just ready to give up when Elon Musk reached out the hand and he
the
obtained
hands
his
of the
full
Twitter
power
god.
once more.
But yeah, I mean, I wish like hearing about all of this by listening to the Dick Show. Um, by going through everything that happened back in 2018, 2019, regarding all of these internet personalities, I really wish I was involved. And that's one of that, like, that's a tiny little regret that I never listened to you in the first place when you told me about Monkey Jones because you were like obsessed
Oh
with him
yeah,
when
I
we
told you
first
about
met.
Monkey Jones many years ago because I was very obsessed
And I
with him.
didn't
Yes.
listen. And I regret not listening because all of this is so interesting. And I love following this podcast. Like, I'll listen to like 10, like 5 episodes a day, and I'll hear all this goss that happened in that month of podcasting. And I'm just like, man, to be there when it happened would have been amazing. But I'm also not the same person I am now than I was way back when all these things were happening. So I probably wouldn't have cared, and I didn't. But
That's true. I definitely have those. Like, I wish I was very late on Monkey Jones. Like, I think I was only subscribed to him for just a few months before the big termination. So I definitely wish I had discovered him a lot
yeah,
sooner than I did. Funnily enough, one of my favorite pieces of monkey content of all time, what is the very short-lived. So he has a Let's Play channel, and the Let's Play channel went through a couple of name changes as he gained and lost co-hosts. Like it was, his first Let's Play channel was the Monkey and Dig Show. That fell through. In fact, that channel got deleted entirely because of a whole different story. And then there was Monkey and Manimals Gaming Expedition, but then his friend Manimal stopped talking to him because he didn't like his roommate. So it just became Monkey's Gaming Expedition. And then for a brief, beautiful couple of months, it became Mumkey and Asperger's Gaming Expedition. And I think that Let's Play channel holds up with like the comedic Let's Play duo greats of our time. It was great. It was wonderful. And I say it, and it's funny because I believe I subscribed to that channel like a day before it switched back to just being Mumkey's Gaming Expedition. Like I got in right there at the end of what would have been my favorite thing. I watched it all later, but it was still great. But I find it funny because I believe I did subscribe to Mumkey and Asperger's Gaming Expedition, but then extremely quickly it became Mumkey's Gaming Expedition.
Okay. Man, I really wish I would have listened to you back in 2018 when I first met you. I really do, but I mean, I don't know what kind of effect that would have had on me today. I don't know if this podcast would even exist or if this podcast would be called something else and it'd have a good following. Like there's so many things that you don't know, but I don't regret my decisions though. Maybe I wish I would have been a little bit more consistent on YouTube back in the day, but
we could if things that we could be in a different realm right now where we're on episode 270 of Peg and Colo are bored right now.
You'd still be Pegasus. I'd be Colo 54.
No, even if I hadn't changed my name, because I've always said that that name has to remain sacred no matter what username changes we go through. So even if I still became Riely,
well, I mean, you're still Peg in our hearts, though.
True.
Anytime I'm talking about you with Penguin, it's always Peg, Peglet, Peggy, Pegasaurus Rex. Your Discord role here as moderator and admin of the Pancake House Discord channel is Pegasaurus Rex. It will always be a part of you.
It's very unfortunate, honestly, because I still run with a lot of that same crowd that remembers me as Pegasus the Gamer and latches onto that. But a lot of my new entourage that I've gained, the fact that I used to be named Pegasus the Gamer is something embarrassing.
I mean, you gotta stick, it was your brand. It's what you had. I mean, brands are kind of dumb, though, but, my internet personality is Kolochu. I did basically what you did, except I kept the name. I just get called something different. I go by my real name now.
Yeah.
I kept it. I turned it into a brand rather than a personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
so real quick, I want to try to go through a little Lolcows speed round before we just shit talk Maddox and Eric July, which is what this is gonna turn into.
Man, okay, can I rage for a second?
Sure.
So I, as you know, I listen to the Dick Show consistently all day, every day, right?
Yes, I've created a monster.
Yes, you have. As we've explored that I let that monster out last week on 53 when we talked about free speech. I was listening. I want to say it was either yesterday or today. It was one of those days. I think it was yesterday. So I download all of them because sometimes I don't have service when I'm out doing my job and stuff. So I just let it go. And all of a sudden, they're talking about a live show. Now I'm in the summer of 2020 era right now. And then they start randomly talking about a live show, and I'm like, oh well, maybe they did live show Orlando or something like that.
They did Tampa, and I didn't get to go, and I'm sad about it.
They did live show in Florida. I know about that because of you. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I skipped an episode or something like that. I'll just let it go. So I let it go for about 45 minutes while I was driving back to the station. And when I go to pause it, I see episode 360 something. And I was like, because they started talking about ASC Riely and stuff that he did to Eric July, and I'm like, oh wow,
God, we have to talk about that. That was going to come up, but since you mentioned it, I'll say it now. ASC Riely did the ultimate troll.
So all I know, I would like to say before, because I know you know more than I do, I want to put out what I know about it so far. Eric
Okay.
July has a comic that Dick Masterson thinks is garbage.
Yes, terrible comic according to Dick Masterson and Vito.
Now, I know there's a lawsuit going on. It's a lawsuit, not a lawsuit
There's a
yet.
lawsuit going on. Dick is not involved in the lawsuit. It's a lawsuit between Eric July and the International School of Ministry, also known as ISOM.
Um, so,
Which is
and
his
then
comic also
what
is
I got
ISOM.
from
That's the
the
problem.
45 minutes of the episode that I listened to was ASC Riely head gets a DMCA from Eric July, correct?
Okay. Yes, but that's
So
not
he
what I'm talking
heads.
about. There's an
Well,
update.
no, I'm telling you what I know about it right now because I'm not
Okay.
following it religiously like you are. So he gets like a DMCA from Eric July. So he heads to the Eric July's warehouse.
Okay, you did hear about that because you said 360s. That was like a 370s thing, but maybe you're just remembering your
It
numbers
was
wrong.
I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering numbers too. I quickly switched over back to the 200s where I'm currently at. ASC Riely heads to Eric July's warehouse and puts like $20 or $50 and tapes it to the
Legendary.
fucking door.
So there's been this ongoing the saga of ASC Riely and Eric July. So this is one of the Lolcows we're talking about primarily today is Eric July, this man who made this comic called ISOM. And he's trying to defeat the woke mob and the culture war by creating a totally non-woke comic called ISOM, and everybody's gonna buy it. It's gonna be so cool, and a lot of people did buy it. He made millions of dollars. But one problem, Dick Masterson gave it a read and decided this is a bad one, actually. Very bad comic book. And he criticized that comic book, Eric July took a little offense to that, and it turned into a big war, a giant war. And within that war was just a humble little fan of Dick Masterson, Dick Masterson's producer, a young man named A.S.E. Riely. And he created a parody of Eric July's comic universe. It's called the Ripaverse. And Riely was creating parody merchandise under the name the Clipaverse. And the bit behind the Clipaverse is that Riely decided after Eric July told Dick Masterson to quote unquote pull up, and that was a meme for a while. Riely made it his mission, his one life mission, to pull up on Eric July and shave his arm hair forcefully.
What the? Oh my god!
Because he has very hairy arms.
Yeah.
So it became Riley's mission to pull up on Eric July and shave his arm hair. And he started doing this dumb little Twitter vlog series where he would walk up a hill every day in preparation as like his training to shave Eric July. And this is all done under his parody brand, the Clipaverse. And eventually, Eric July DMCA striked the Clipaverse on ASC Riely's t-shirt store. And got it taken down. He got his whole t-shirt store taken down, which I believe also had shirts for like his YouTube channel where his girlfriend makes movie reviews, and it's a relatively popular channel. And his t-shirt store got banned, and his Twitter got banned, and it's believed it does have something to do with that his Twitter got banned too. So ASC Riely has been destroyed thanks to Eric July and his what I would say false DMCA strikes, because it is parody, I think, what Riely was doing. I don't think he was in violation of any copyrights. But now Riely is even more determined in his mission to defeat Eric July. And so he's going everywhere.
Parody is making fun of, but there can also be you can also file a DMCA against anybody if you suspect that they're doing it maliciously. If they're doing it on purpose with intent to make fun, like
That's
if
not
you look
true.
at, well, you can
You
file
can
a
definitely make a
DMCA.
parody to make fun. You can file a DMCA, but it's a false DMCA. What
Like,
Riely is doing
Penguin Mage
falls
and
within
Raging
the parody
Gingy
law.
did did a parody of this show, we could DMCA them as long, but like,
it would be false, and it would be
well, we could
probably.
DMCA them as long as they don't say this is a parody of it. If they say this is a parody, then we can DMCA them.
You don't have
But
to. I don't think you have to explicitly say it's a parody, which I think Riely did. But even if he didn't, I don't
I'm
think you
not.
have to
I'm
explicitly
not
say that it's a parody.
defending anybody. This is just putting a little bit of light on what a DMCA is.
Okay, gotcha. But so
I'm not
Riely got
defending someone with a shit comic.
Riely got falsely DMCA striked, so he's mad. He wants his revenge. And so he goes around fucking with Eric July in any way possible for a very long time. And one of the ways he would fuck with Eric July is he was willing to throw his money away directly at Eric July just to be noticed and troll and have his trolls noticed. He would often send super chats to Eric July's streams or other
Yes.
people's streams that Eric July had been on. And there was a
So
point
he goes
where
to the. So that's what
yeah,
I know about.
hold
That
on,
ties into what I
let me
know
finish
about,
explaining it
right?
because I'm talking here. But at some point, Eric starts ignoring his super chats, and you know, if somebody's ignoring your super chats, what are you gonna do? But increase the level of super chat. So Riely drives to Texas, where Eric July's comic shipping warehouse is that he shouldn't even have, because he should just be outsourcing this production. And he's definitely losing money by running his own warehouse and hiring fucking 12 employees to run his warehouse. But
Yeah.
Riely goes to this warehouse and tapes dollar bills on the warehouse, and they are IRL super chats.
Yes, that is what I heard. The IRL super chats. That's all I know, outside of like various
And
comments on
he shot a
Twitter from Dick
video.
Masterson.
He
But
shot a video where he said, "Ignore these super chats," and then he flipped off the security cameras and he left.
so,
And Eric July had a fucking meltdown about
oh,
this.
of course. If I got a note that appeared on my door, my front door, that said IRL Patreon subscription from
I will be
from
back on the
you
first
from
of every
you
month.
from you, or Penguin or anybody, I'd be like, one, you don't have the address of the bunker I'm staying in. Two, go donate to my own Patreon because there's a whole website and you don't have to drive 8, 10, 15 hours to get here. But I'd be a little worried too. However, I'm sure the warehouse is public knowledge, correct?
The address is completely out there and very easily publicly findable via Google search.
Okay, so
But Eric
everything that
July
ASC
claims,
Riely has done is legal.
yes, 100% ASC Riely has not done anything illegal. There's an argument to be made according to Eric, and I guess like I don't know, have enough legal expertise to know what water this holds. Nick Rekieta disagrees, but it's not like he didn't say like that's fucking stupid. He just kind of like asked some questions, and it seems like Eric is wrong. But it seems like the case that Eric's lawyers intended to make was for a charge of criminal mischief. Is the charge that they would have tried to levy against
Criminal
ASC
mischief?
Riely.
Hold on.
Yes.
What is criminal mischief?
It's I guess you just like go around and fuck around. I think it's there. I think it's mostly a law against like graffiti. That's the gist of it. It's just like going around and fucking around with property at night.
My phone needs to stop listening to everything we're talking about while we're doing a podcast because I type out criminal, hit space, and the first thing that comes up is criminal mischief.
Oh,
No person shall, without privilege to do so, knowingly move, deface, damage, destroy, or otherwise improperly tamper with the property of another. So yeah, graffiti falls within that.
yeah, but I believe if you go into the specifics of the law and stuff, at least according to Nick Rekieta, who is a accredited lawyer.
Well, of course, I am not an accredited lawyer.
Yes.
I am reading the very top of what Google search of criminal mischief says.
I'm just going more in depth here. Apparently, it implies some sort of like real damage or
yeah.
financial investment in fixing what happened, and all Riley did was tape some dollar bills to a door. So there's
Now
not really a case.
you might be able to, because it, like, let's say he uses duct tape and duct tape takes off the paint on the door. That's damage.
Yes, that's true, but that's not what he did. He used like
Well,
shitty old
yeah.
tape.
Of course, he's gonna use like Scotch tape, which you can get at like
Yeah.
Office Depot or Office Max or whatever's around, like, or fucking Walmart. Like, it's a joke. It's clearly a joke. Like,
It's clearly a joke, but Eric July's running around like, I can't afford to not take this seriously. He
Well,
came to my business.
Of course.
Are you saying that that's a reasonable reaction?
It's not reasonable, but I understand the dude. Like, I understand. Like, I'd probably react the same way. I wouldn't make it public, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, like
that's
like
where he messed up.
Eric
He's
July
giving
is, like,
ASC Riely. He's giving Riely all of this attention that Riely wants by going to
my
Twitter.
Employees, they work in my business.
Exactly.
So like, I can't have people coming to my business because then they're getting they're messing with my employees, my business. You see,
like the equivalent would be if Penguin came to where I live, taped a bunch of money to the door, and said IRL Patreon monthly donation. Never saw me, never hung out with me, and left. And I came to the podcast here and went on Twitter and said, I can't believe this. I can't believe that someone so close to me would put money on my door and rip off the paint. Can't believe it. I can't believe that someone would deface my property and insult me like this. ASC Riely is actively giving him money. Like,
I mean, he did draw bunnies on the money, so I don't know if they'd still be usable.
I mean, it's technically still usable. Like, if you go to a bank, they might not be like, if you go to Walmart, you can use dollar bills with bunnies on them. Like, okay. Walmart doesn't care. You can go places as long as the dollar is still there. They'll most likely take it. Now, defacing money is a crime. Like, you're not supposed to write on money. It is a crime. But at the same time, 90% of people in the US of A don't fucking care. Because I know that you've been around long enough to see the little stamp that says, "Where's George?" or like, "Where's George.com" that tracks where the dollar goes. Right? Have you seen that on money before?
No.
Really?
What the fuck is Where's George.com?
It's literally where, like, you can track where a single dollar bill has been. Have you never heard? Hold on. Have you never heard of this before?
No.
I've seen this on like maybe $5. Let me look this up. Let me see. Let me look this up real quick because I'm actually curious. Where's George.com? Yeah, there's a whole website called Where's George.com. It says, "Welcome to Where's George. To get started tracking your bills, please select below." And there's two options. I found a Where's George bill and I want to see where it has been. I want to enter and track my own Where's George dollar bills. And you put like a little stamp on it. And if people go to the actual website and update where that bill is gone, you can figure out that it's like these bills go everywhere. Like, it's crazy. There's like a whole thing. And they put like little stamps on the bills to like demark them as, hey, this is what's going on. Like, there's a whole little like thing about it.
Wow.
I knew I wasn't crazy. I just never looked into it. But like, defacing money is a thing. Like, if you black out a dollar bill and try and like, if you black out one half of the like one side of the dollar bill, and then go to a bank and be like, "Yeah, can I get a new one?" They'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
But I do believe that if you have a ripped in half dollar bill, but they're the same half, like they can verify the serial numbers, they might give you a new one. That might be cap on my part, but I do believe that the government will give you money for deformed money, as long as they can verify it was real. Anyway, back to Eric July. We went on a little tangent here.
We
Talking about
did.
Lolcows here.
Yeah, so Eric July freaked the fuck out publicly. And the funniest part about it is, you've met Nick Rekieta. You know about him, right?
Nick Rackets, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Nick Rackets, uh, he did. So Nick Rackets has been playing both sides of this issue. Eric July is like part of a kind of group that Nick Rekieta also runs in. So Nick has been kind of playing the field. He's been very neutral. He's been very supportive of Eric July, wishes him the best of success. But he's just also still friends with Dick.
Of course.
And people were complaining that Nick Rekieta was still friends with Dick and like not denouncing Dick and not agreeing with the regions of Eric July fans who when Eric July got that lawsuit because a Dick Show fan sent an email to the International School of Ministry whose copyright he was violating. He there was just like a lot of I got fucking. Oh shit, what was I saying? No.
You were talking about Nick Rekieta playing both sides.
Yeah. Disagreeing that Dick and Vito were gonna go to prison because they totally, definitely coerced this man to send this email to the International School of Ministry. Just because Nick Rekieta was like, I am a lawyer, and like, no, they're not. You idiots.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and then eventually including Eric July himself, just started like shit talking Nick because he was like, he's supporting the actions of these
Okay.
people trying to ruin my business.
Real quick, do you have
Yeah.
to do the voice? I'm not judging. Do you have to do the voice?
That's
Is that pertinent to the story?
it's pertinent to when you're talking about Eric July and you don't do the voice, you're not doing it justice.
There you go. Okay. Just want to make sure you
That's my
clarify that.
Eric July impression specifically. That's
Look,
not.
I'm slowly regressing back to the age where I'm putting the filter back on. Last week, the filter got destroyed completely. So, luckily, Big Daddy Bezos gave me a new filter through Amazon Prime. I got a new filter.
Can't complain. I love the can't complain meme.
I'm gonna watch
about Amazon. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
How's the job going? Can't complain.
No, I got 2
Why
on
is your
Hinge
collar
last
beeping?
week.
Single tear in your eye. Can't complain.
I got 2 on Hinge last week. I'm trying to reel it in for the viewers. We don't want to go off the wall every single week, right?
At least I'm not playing the music.
Oh, the blaxploitation music that
Yes.
Yes, I also made it that far into the episode for the blaxploitation music where all of them are making fun of him for how he fought. I got a good like 45 to 50 minutes into that episode, so like
that must have been like the most recent one then.
Yeah, it probably was.
Was it with Vito and Kevin and Mint?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's the most.
That's why I got really confused because Dick was like, Kevin, what has it been, like the 3rd or 4th time? And Kevin goes, it's been the 4th time. And I'm like, I've only heard Kevin once. What? That's fine. And I completely ignored it and I let it go. So, but I know enough to talk about it. And
so
also Dick Masterson is consistently crazy on Twitter. So
Eric went on Nick Rekieta's stream and they had a confrontation about Riely's warehouse thing, about Dick and whether or not Dick and Vito are trying to ruin Nick's business, and whether they're committing tortoise interference or whatever the fuck. And he went on Eric July's stream, or no. He went on Nick Rekieta's stream, Eric July did. And he sounded like a fucking idiot the entire time. It's so funny.
What I've gathered is most people who go on either, like, from what I know as of episode 210, is most people who aren't regulars who go on Nick Rekieta's stream or Killstream are all fucking morons.
I don't know if that's true of the kill stream.
Like,
Maybe it's true of Nick Rekieta's stream because he was interviewing a bunch of.
anytime it's brought up on the Dick Show, they're mainly making fun of the morons that showed up and just kind of spouted their mouths without actually thinking.
Yeah, understandable.
So, most of the time, anytime Nick Rekieta's stream is brought up, is about people who were being dumb.
Yeah,
So,
Nick Rekieta since back then has become like a massive bigger deal.
well, I mean, he's a
Like
massive. He's already a massive deal just because of the lawsuit back in 2018.
yeah, that's where he got his start of being famous, but now he's like big. Now he's been in a Netflix documentary.
Really?
For like 1 second. He was not like focused on, but he was in there.
That's kind of cool, though.
It was a Netflix documentary about the Amber Heard trial, which he covered extensively on his show.
See, I didn't follow that, so
Well, Nick Rekieta did because he's a lawyer, and it was a big lawsuit, so it makes sense for him to do that, and
yeah.
it paid dividends. And then
Man, dude, I
he
can't
had a
wait to catch
small
up.
cameo in a Netflix movie, which apparently apparently Nick got paid for his cameo in the Netflix movie, but Netflix stole footage from an interview that Andy Signore did, that they tried to buy off of him and he didn't sell it to him, so they just kind of like sneaked it in the movie, I guess. So now Andy Signore is suing Netflix.
Oh my god. Lawsuits for everybody.
Yes.
Continue, please.
But yeah, I mean, Eric July's just insane. And he basically kind of admitted to charity fraud on the stream because
Oh?
the whole situation was one of the reasons that Dick was trying to ruin his business is that he Dick was claiming, so there's a thing when you buy an ISOM book that you can pay like a price that's a little bit less than the normal price that you would pay for an ISOM book, and it was like $17. And they
Okay.
would donate that ISOM book to like a charity for like sick kids.
Oh.
But when you do that kind of thing, apparently, this is kind of shit I don't understand because I'm not super into like legality of charity. But like when you do that sort of thing, like everything has to be exact because like if you're pocketing like even a little bit of that money, that's fraud. So and Dick's claim has always been that there's no way that it costs $17 to pack and ship these comic books to cancer kids. And he was claiming that there was some sort of scam going on here. And Eric, of course, disagreed.
Yeah.
And they talked about it on Nick Rekieta's stream. Nick Rekieta was hesitant to talk about it because he didn't want to like make Eric look bad if he didn't answer in an adequate way. But Eric wanted to bring it up, and they were talking about it. And at some point, he started talking about like the average cost per customer of the book, and how if like you bought books in bulk, they cost slightly less, and how like he went into all this like crazy like weird math shit that didn't make any sense. And Nick Rekieta immediately like whatever it is, it's obviously not legal and sounds like charity fraud because Nick Rekieta immediately just had like this terrible like face palm. And all he kept telling Nick to he kept telling Eric to stop talking and get new lawyers.
When a lawyer tells you to get new lawyers, you shut the fuck up at that
Yeah,
point. But
because Eric was claiming like I talked to my legal team and we got this all figured out, and he was like if your lawyers are saying that this is okay what you're saying, get new lawyers.
oh man, how long have you been sitting on this? Like, how long have you wanted to talk about this?
I mean, the Eric July situation has been going on for months. Like this started probably over half a year ago. Back in its infancy days when it was Dick making fun of Vito for having this drama, because it started because Vito was shitting on Eric July back when he was running his Kickstarter for I Saw #1. He was like, "This is probably gonna suck. This guy probably doesn't know how to write a comic." And everybody was like, "You're just jealous because your comic's not gonna get $1 million like his did. This is really stupid. This drama that you're starting." And then I Saw #1 came out, and Dick read it, and everything changed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Man, I
And
think what what I really want to do, and I think this might bother you just a little bit. I'm gonna start listening to not Biggest Problem, but at least just the new episodes of the Dick Show every week.
you bitch.
Because like it's only adding one episode a week onto. It's only taking away one episode of like the daily episodes I listen to.
Uh-oh.
So like, let's say I get 5 done a day on the work days, so 20 a week, right? Cut that
Yes.
down to 19 a week, plus the new one. So I'm consistently making progress while also cutting out the new episodes. It's like, I want to hear about the goss. I want to hear the hot goss drop every week because it's interesting. And hearing about the lawsuit that happened with Maddox. By the way, Cowboy Maddox and Banana Docs are a thing now. They have been brought up in the Dick Show as of where I'm listening, so that's great. They spent a good 20 minutes shitting on his idea and how he has nothing better to do.
But then, over the journey, because there's a character arc for Banana Docs and Oxmad where eventually we all realize that this is the right path for Maddox and that he's found his happiness and maybe that's okay. And then they got rid of the software.
Oh no. But yeah, I've been making the original thing where we did Biggest Demon Slayer in the universe, right?
Yeah, Maddox was your favorite, if you'll recall.
Yes. Not anymore.
Yeah, obviously.
I just want to put this out here on Detour Ahead, all right?
Mm-hmm.
We did this in June or July, right?
Holy shit, you've listened to 300 podcasts in like 3 months.
I'm averaging 100 episodes a month.
What the fuck? Are you okay?
Nothing better to do with my time. Lately, ever since I became a big swinging Dick Patreoni, I have been filling my nights instead of watching Cold Case Files on Netflix, like
You're
the
watching
white
Dick
girl I
Show
am.
bonus episodes?
I'm not even watching the bonus episodes. I'm watching actual episodes, but I'm watching them. So I'm adding to the amount that I'm watching. I'm listening and watching. The amount that I'm consuming per week. I'm adding to that.
Yeah, I mean, I do prefer the video version. I try to do it as often as I can. It keeps me engaged better. Like that's a thing that I made a switch that I made when we were doing the Dickheads podcast because I started to have an issue with
I did have a question for you. Who is the host of the Dickheads podcast?
me and Mo Diggity.
Really?
Okay, there were like a million different installments of the Dickheads podcast. So if you're thinking of a Dickheads podcast related event for the Dick Show, that was not us. But in the most current iteration of the Dickheads podcast saga was me and Mo Diggity.
Okay, so it's just the name that gets passed around, basically.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to like call you out and be like you're a fucking liar. I didn't want to say you're a fucking liar, but like I also want to kind of get in on that because I feel like that would be cool to do.
Okay, here's the like
that would also separate any Dick Show lore or any Dick Show biggest problem talk from Detour Ahead.
Yes, but here's the 5-minute quick and dirty on the history of the Dickheads podcast. It was originally a show started by a guy named JP. And the premise of the show was just they would hang out, they talk about the Dick Show, and they would interview like cool, interesting Dick Show fans. Like they had some celebrity guests on.
I know about it because it got covered by Who Are These Podcasts?
That did not. Did it?
The original, when it first
I don't think
started,
it did.
yeah.
We got covered by Who Are These Podcasts? Me and Mo, Dickhead's podcast, did.
The Dickheads podcast was brought up a while ago.
Perhaps it was on like Cringe of the Week. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the only Dickheads podcast Carl ever covered was ours, but I might be wrong on that. But I know it's been brought up on the Dick Show.
Because someone said, why would I listen to a podcast about... Why would I listen to you guys talk about a podcast when I could go listen to the podcast?
To be fair, I think this was like 2020, which is where you're getting to. So maybe they are talking about us.
No. This was like a month ago for me.
Oh, okay.
This was a while ago. This was like early 2019,
That seems
2018
weird to me because I feel
era.
like Carl would have remembered that
I
when they
don't
covered
know if
our
it was
version.
Who Is podcast. I think he was on talking about it on the Dick Show, but he didn't cover it on Who Are These Podcasts.
But anyway, so yeah.
Anyway, I
and
know
I was a thing about this show.
We're not the original hosts.
Oh yeah. So the thing about how I came into the mix, not right away, but pretty close. I was a common caller on the Dickheads podcast during its first season. They're split by seasons. During its first season, I was
this show.
Yes, shut up. Fuck you.
You said yes.
No. So the Dickheads podcast season 1, I was a common caller. I would call in every once in a while. I would like give a rage. Sometimes they would have people do. Sometimes they'd have people ask questions to the people they were interviewing. That was the first time I ever got to interact with Trixie. I got to say hi to her, and that was a dream come true because I was like a super big fan of her.
Okay, I would like to say,
yeah,
I know it's Trixie right now, but as of chronologically where I am, it's essentially Diginay.
That was her first trans name.
Go. We will cover Diginay after after we wrap up this podcast because I have thoughts, but I don't want to talk about it right now.
Your thoughts about Diginay and her adventures, but no, okay. But anyway, so
remind me after the podcast. We'll have a little talk about.
That's probably my moment. The biggest moment that I have from the Dickheads podcast season 1 is when I got to say hi to Trixie. And I was like, this is my dreams come true. And everybody was like, "Aw," and they were laughing, and it was funny. It's kind of embarrassing now to think about. But yeah, so I was a common caller. I was vaguely familiar with JP. Like we had interacted, but I was more interacting with Grant, who is another co-host of season 1 of the Dickheads podcast, a guy by the name of Grant Leahy. You may remember because he was on he was not this show. He was on Peg and Colo Are Bored once. Grant Leahy.
I don't remember much from Peg and Colo, to be completely honest with you.
But yeah, he was a friend of mine. He came on Peg and Colo Are Bored once. He was he was supposed to be our Sean for Largest Issue, but then he ghosted us after like 3 episodes. He was Grant, the audio engineer, but then he disappeared.
Get him on the podcast. Bring him on here.
I should hit him up. I think he's still around. He's a slurry one though, so we might have to do some bleeping.
Slur like N-word?
Yeah,
bad?
A couple N-words.
Is he black?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, we can discuss that at a later date.
I don't know if I've ever heard him say it out loud, but we once had a conversation in a Discord server where he tried to tell me, and he was not saying the N-word, he was saying the word the whole time. I'm saying the N-word for these purposes. But he tried to explain to me how he totally can say the N-word because he's not referring to black people. It's just it's not actually a term for black people. It's just a term for like poor people or something, he said.
Okay. Continue.
But so
I have to keep reminding myself I have a filter this episode, but regressing back to early the Kolochu era where I was very conscious about what I put out on the internet.
I think you need to break that shell. I think we need to keep you out of that.
That shell broke too quickly last episode. I got to regress a little bit.
Okay, yeah, we got to do a slower burn on it.
Like I said, Daddy Bezos gave me a brand new filter. Daddy Bezos, It was shipped
Anyway,
it free with Amazon Prime.
so yeah, okay, let me
Right
get.
to my doorstep.
Okay, so eventually there was some big drama with JP. JP like allegedly docked somebody. I don't know about that situation, so I don't want to speak ill. I don't want to speak in the schoolyard or whatever the fuck that term is. I know that's not what it is, but it's
Yeah,
something
I know what you
similar.
mean.
Um, but yeah, there was some sort of doxing situation with JP. JP got like ousted. And the Dickheads podcast, for all intents and purposes, was over.
Okay.
But then a little bit while later, we had reached the point where the Dick Show, in some circles, people who used to like Dick were coming to dislike Dick. There was a pretty decent uprising of old fans who were becoming bitter towards Dick Masterson.
Now, when was
Uh,
this? What
uh,
era was this?
I don't know
Do you remember
exactly. I think it
around
was
what
like
year?
2019 or 2020, in that general
Really?
area. Yeah.
Interesting, because I'm in the late 2020s. I believe I'm summer of 2020 right now.
I think like maybe like the COVID takes were the start, and it was like just a lot of other crazy things he said. Like, was 2020 the year of cuties, or was that later? Have we gotten to cuties yet?
We have not gotten to cuties, but we have had plenty of COVID talk.
He I think jokingly defended cuties. And a lot of people got really mad about that.
I mean,
And
okay, that's fair, but like the COVID talk, I can relate a little bit. I had a lot of similar uh hot takes on the on the global pandemic era.
But anyway, like again, that's another speaking
So,
at schoolyard thing. I don't really know everything exactly that they were mad at him for, but there was an uptick of people who used to be fans who were not fans anymore. And one of those people was Grant Leahy, and another one of those people was Cameron Clark.
I know Cameron Clark. I know that
Uh,
name.
yeah, and Cameron
He
Clark.
was the reason the Chris Kant show fucked up.
Yes, 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 yes. So Cameron Clark was not a fan of the Dick Show anymore. And Grant Leahy and Cameron Clark started the Dickheads podcast season 2, which was actually a Dick Show hate podcast.
Okay.
And I was still friends with Grant, and I had come to be friends with Cameron Clark. So even though I did not hate the Dick Show or Dick Masterson, I still occasionally appeared on this show.
Question.
Yes.
This is not the same Cameron that is part of your internet
No.
history, correct?
Cameron Clark and other Cameron, different guys, 100%.
Okay.
Uh,
Just clearing some thoughts I've had over these past few
no, two
weeks.
two very distinct Camerons. But so that happens. But eventually, Grant Leahy disappears from the internet. This is the same time that he's supposed to be my Sean, and then he suddenly disappears. So nobody's around. Nobody's doing. Grant's gone. So the Dickheads podcast season 2 also stops.
Okay.
But then Cameron Clark makes a friend, a trans woman by the name of Beth, and this little circle is kind of gathering. Cameron Clark does his own podcast called The Cameron Clark Show, and he kind of had met people through that. I think that's how I met him, because like Mo Diggity had been on The Cameron Clark Show, and then I went on The Cameron Clark Show, and so this little circle was building, and at some point, Cameron Clark and Beth started the Dickheads podcast season 3, which was also a Dick Show hate podcast. And this was like there was a lot of like effort put into this one. Like there were like parody songs and shit, one of which I sung and I still kind of regret because it is like about Dick and it's like talking shit about like his real life shit. But whatever, it was a silly thing. I did it as like a bit to host the podcast for an episode. It's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's kind of embarrassing to look back on. But so that's the show that's going on. And the bit behind it is like there's a lot of like real like goss, quote unquote. Like I don't know, I don't want to go into it or its legitimacy or anything, but there was a lot of like real goss that was being spread that people were like interested in hearing. But the bit was that they would encase it to piss off Dick Show fans who are listening for the gossip. They would encase this gossip in a bunch of talking about Steven Universe.
Interesting.
So like half of the Dickheads podcast season 3 was just talking about Steven Universe.
Because I know Dick Masterson has a very strong opinion about Steven Universe.
Does he?
Back in the Asterios days, like toward the end,
Mm-hmm.
Dick Masterson hates Steven Universe.
Ah.
Because it's a very, very far left idealistic kids aimed at kids show. And he doesn't understand it. Dick Masterson doesn't understand it. He thinks it's trying to expose kids to ideals that they don't need to know about, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he thinks like the early days were just very, very, very weird and not for the children's minds at the time. This was the buildup of the this was around the time where Asterios basically stopped coming on the Dick Show.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was before or after his last appearance.
This is too much getting in the weeds. We're getting into too deep nerd territory. But
too deep. Look, this is already about the Dick Show at this point.
Yeah, but like I'm trying to keep it in places that maybe people could understand if they hadn't heard the Dick Show for the majority of its runtime.
Okay, so don't get too specific. Got it.
Yes, but so the Dickheads podcast was half about Steven Universe, and like I was in that friend group. So like even though I disagreed with their hatred of Dick Masterson, I just still went on that show because like why not, right? Who really cares? So I was always a part of the Dickheads podcast, and I think season 3 was when I became a bigger part than I had been before. Because season 1 and season 2 I was just like a caller, and then season 3 I was like on as like a consistent personality for a couple episodes. So that happened, and then that whole thing just kind of fizzled out. Like there was one like the last hurrah of season 3 was we got Maddox on for 1 second by like tricking him through a third party.
Okay.
Like what happened was the Dickheads podcast people were in contact with Jesse PS, the host of Pod Awful, which is one of the shows on Maddox's. Used to be one of the shows on Maddox's network. It is not anymore. It's its own thing now and has been for a long time. But it used to be a show on Maddox's network, and he also hates Dick Masterson. Like the whole thing about Pod Awful is he does these shows centered around his goons. Which are just like people on the internet that he thinks are like lolcows, and he just wants to spend time like making fun of and trolling and bullying. And he considers Dick Masterson to be one of his goons. So he partakes in trollery involving Dick Masterson quite often. And so him and the Dickheads people were in talks, and then they had Jesse on, and Jesse called Maddox on the phone. And they had like a little bit of an exchange, and then Maddox said Maddox had like something private to tell him about like something about like the lawsuit or like something generally drama related. So he went off mic. So the Maddox was on for like 2 sentences without even knowing it. So that was like the final big hurrah, and it kind of fizzled out after that. And there's a brief footnote of season 4. Season 4 consisted of 1 episode. And season 4 was hosted by me. But here's the story behind season 4. So season 4 was something I started planning. I don't remember why I started planning it. But I did. And eventually Jesse's like friends got involved. Like Jesse was around, but he wasn't like in the call. And like Jesse's like friends got involved, and like Jesse was involved in putting it together. And basically the Pod Awful people took it over. It was awful. There were like old guests from old Dickheads podcast that they like fucked with and made them very mad. Rommel was on that episode, and I think he did not like me by the end, but I don't think he holds it against me. I think we've had a positive interaction since then. But Yeah, it all went to shit. The Pod Awful people were they fucked it up. It was funny. I don't care. But it was one episode. It was a shit show, and that was the end of the Dickheads podcast legacy. But I decided no more. And I decided, I've been part of this like chicken shit, like anti-dick show, weird like meta thing for so long. I just want to start a fun little show where me and my friend who both like the Dick Show talk about the Dick Show. And I was actually going to give it a new name. It was not going to be the Dickheads podcast. But then I got into contact with the man himself, Dick Masterson, who told me that I should not change the name because there's brand recognition.
Yeah.
So I ended up not changing the name. But I dropped the season count. So from that point, it just became like, this is season infinity, forever, the Dickheads podcast. And it just became a show where me and Mo talked about the Dick Show until we kind of fizzled out. There was drama with that show. You might have heard of my hot take. I'm not going to go into what that is, but one very primary hot take that was a big drama encircling involved in that. And that was part of the Dickheads podcast, season infinity. And it kind of fizzled out. The story I'm kind of married to, half as a joke, half I feel like this is true and Mo Diggity won't admit it. The final episode we did was recorded just before we got covered on Who Are These Podcasts, and Carl ripped into our show. And at that point, Mo Diggity said immediately after that was discussing interest in either radical change to the show or just like stopping it. And he claims that had nothing to do with Carl's coverage. I feel like maybe that's a little bit copium, but I don't know. Who's to say?
So that catches up on the Dickhead podcast.
Yes, the
Dickhead podcast is it dead right now?
It is dead right now. The last time we did it was it had been done for over a year, and we brought it back once as a celebration of the Dick Show episode 300. So the last time we did a Dickheads podcast was concerning episode 300 of the Dick Show. We are now in the late 370s. So yeah, it's been dead for a while.
Interesting. Okay. Now, did you want to? Okay, I'll leave that off recording. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, but that catches you up on the Dickheads podcast.
Yeah, you know what I was about to bring up, but I'm not going to bring that up right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious because I heard two other hosts like a while back.
It was a long tenured storyline.
Yeah,
of which I was a small part, and then I became the primary part eventually through many layers of reinvention.
Okay. So,
but yeah, so that's that lore. Real quick, because we probably should end a little bit soon, because at this point, Geark is our only reliable source of recording. So
we are also we're an hour and a half in.
Yeah, real quick, we got to talk about Maddox a little bit. We haven't talked about any of Maddox.
Of course.
So what are what's your best worst Maddox moment?
I was going to say I was going to open the floor to you.
Oh, okay.
I was going to open the floor to you because like obviously people on here know that I consistently the only type of media I'm consuming is the Dick Show.
No, actually, here's the thing. I've been talking about Maddox for years, and I just went off on Eric July because you don't really know the whole story yet, so I was the expert here. You just, in a very condensed couple of month period, consumed Maddox's entire saga of insanity. So I want to open the floor to you.
Oh, you fucking piece of... Okay. So I know about I know about everything that happened during the biggest problem. I know about the lawsuit. I know about the absolute fucking insanity. You know what? I know the perfect thing to start with. Okay. Just because this just resurfaced, which I find incredibly cool. Slime time.
Okay, I think your mouth fucking the mic a little bit too much. Just kind of back up a little tad. But yeah, slime time.
Is this
Great.
better? Is this
Yes.
better? Okay.
Perfect.
I moved the mic away from my face. Um, slime time. Now,
It's
I
so funny.
just passed original slime time, and just like a week or two after I passed that, it resurfaces under
So
Maddox on his
slime time for those who don't know is a troll op people run on Maddox, where in his bedroom he has a bed set, like a blanket or sheet or whatever, that is the slime from Dragon Quest.
like a
Um,
comforter. It's a
yes,
comforter,
it's
I
a
believe.
a big slime from Dragon Fest. The Dragon
And it's
Fest,
just a
Dragon
face. It's not
Quest.
like an actual. It's just the slime
It's just
face
a
from
big
Dragon Quest.
slime face. Yes.
Now,
So the idea behind slime time is people will try to tweet this at like women and ask them their opinions on this bedroom and laugh maniacally as they talk about how like silly and non-appealing it is to them women.
yes, yes. Now, the reason I start with this, there is an infinite amount of things. There is a countless number of things that I can start with to talk about Maddox and him being a lolcow at this point. I could even go into like the whole. We could sit here and talk about the lol suit for hours. We could have an entire episode covering the lol suit, but enough people have
What I
covered the
want to
lol suit.
know, this is the
Now,
primary. This is real
okay.
quick. I don't want to touch on this for too long. Like we can give a brief answer, but I'm just curious. Um, have you? Because this depends from person to person. Has your updated knowledge of who Maddox is and what he does and how much of a sack of shit he is warped your perception of the original biggest problem? Like, do you not remember that show fondly anymore? Do you not think you could re-listen to it, or do you think you're able to separate the artistry of that show from the
Now,
man that Maddox became?
I think now remember when we did biggest demon slayer in the universe. What was that, like a
Maddox was your
month
favorite.
ago? That was what, like 3 months? That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
God damn, that was three
just three
months
months
ago.
ago. Yeah, three
Jesus
short months
Christ, that was
ago.
3 months ago. Um, when I brought in biggest problem, I did 7 episodes. I liked Maddox originally, and I would like for the listeners, because I don't think we actually covered this on that episode. I listened to the uncut version of Biggest Problem in the Universe from 2014.
So you got Maddox in his natural form that he never wanted you to see right away,
And in the
and
first seven
even then you
episodes,
still fell in love.
I I wouldn't say I fell in love. I liked him more than Dick Masterson within the podcast.
But you were obviously
Obviously,
into the podcast like a lot. Like
well, obviously,
you're supposed to
yeah,
listen to
I
two and then
was,
you listen to seven, so
yeah,
you were in it.
yeah, I was hooked, and like almost immediately, I was hooked. Um, but I think during the podcast, all the way up to I want to say 76, it felt natural, like a regular pod. It felt like a really good podcast, and it was
You
really good.
felt
Like
it? Did you feel the tonal shift between like 76 and
after
78?
77, there was, you could tell, not on Maddox's side, but just coming from how Dick interacts with the show, he's just there. He's just doing a show. That's it.
Because he knows the show is great, but he no longer has any respect or
You can
interest in the man.
obviously tell from his tone of voice and how he reacts to certain things with Maddox. He just doesn't really care that much, but he's doing it because he knows there's a big following. And
He
that's
knows
it.
there's a big following, and I think he did have faith in the show. Like he's talked about, like for years after it ended, he always said that it was this like amazing show. I think
He
nowadays,
actively talks, like especially in the Dick Show, he actively talks. He's like, if Maddox didn't go and like fuck things up, the biggest problem,
We'd still be doing Biggest Problem to this day. Yeah.
he's like, I don't know if it would be good, but we might still be doing it.
But yeah, so he's
Does
always
that
talked
an-
fondly about Biggest
I don't know
Problem.
if that answered your question. I feel like I kind of beat around the bush.
I didn't think you were done, but we were going into the weeds a little bit.
I know. What was the original question?
Has your new formed opinions on Maddox warped your opinion of the old show to where you can't remember it as fondly anymore or enjoy it upon re-listen?
I think I would re-listen to it. I would. Part of me wants to go and listen to original Biggest Problem.
To see like how it feels different.
Yes, because I think I fucked up. When we did this originally, you had me listen to the uncucked version. I think I should have been listening to the original versions.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think you would. You see, the thing is, I wanted you to hear the real shit. And I didn't know you were gonna get so into it that you would then.
You didn't think I was gonna get sucked into 100 episodes a month.
I didn't think you would get so interested
in
in it that you would be interested in listening to Biggest Problem again under different conditions.
You didn't.
So I just gave you the real one right away.
Basically, miniaturized Dick Masterson in our podcast friend group.
I mean, I'm so happy that you glommed onto the show so hard because, like,
so you know how
this has been my whole personality for years, and you never got it. You never understood.
I never got it because I never gave it the time of day. I would like to go and re-listen to it once I'm done with the Dick Show.
Well, and new Biggest Problem. Don't be putting that off, you bitch.
Yeah, I know, but like once I'm all caught up, enough time will have passed to where I think old Biggest Problem will have like kind of fizzled out a little bit in my memory to where I can honestly say I'll go re-listen to the cucked versions, the original.
Maddox did you know that last week the history was made?
With 108, yes,
Yep.
You did. Now, I would. I don't think my viewpoint, if I go listen to it, I think I can separate old Maddox from post-lawsuit Maddox.
For me, my thing is like I don't even have to do that because like I've always been an art from artist guy. I'm sure plenty of the people who I like and think are funny are the most awful people on the planet, and I've come to accept that, and I apply that same logic to Maddox. Like, I think he is funny,
yeah,
and that is something that I will always like. He's a scumbag, and he's like a complete idiot, stupid person because he's made so many awful decisions. But he's just like he's a good, funny podcaster. I think Old Biggest Problem. I think Old Biggest Problem is the best podcast in history. And I even like Best Debate in the Universe.
I don't know. Maybe one day I'll give Best Debate a chance.
I do not obligate you to. Like, maybe you'll enjoy it, but like you probably won't.
Maybe we'll have best debate in the Demon Slayer verse or some stupid shit.
That'll be how you finally get me to watch more Demon Slayers. Listening to
have you not watched it? I can't yell here. I'm in a bunker. Have you not watched any more Demon Slayer since?
I haven't because it's kind of fallen by the wayside, but I am interested in watching more. I've been seeing more Demon Slayer stuff recently.
Okay.
So I got it in my mind. I think I might get back to it soon.
I mean, I'm not bothering you. I tried to get Val on here to come yell at you about Demon Slayer, but those plans fell through.
Yeah.
So, I honestly could say I would go listen to Biggest Problem because I'm able to put aside original Maddox from present day Maddox, if that makes sense.
For sure. I wish you would just do stuff again.
You never reacted to what I sent you in DMs. I would like to point out, just because we're on this, for Sean, the LA-based world touring
LA-based comedian Sean, the audio engineer.
Yes. From binging every single episode of the Dick Show all at once, all in chronological order over the past like 2 months. If you want a definite shift in how Sean reacts to Dick, it definitely comes like he is very, very reserved. No, I don't want to say very, but like he's still
Yeah. You
weary.
said something about when Best Debate ends. Did you mean like when his tenure ended, or when Best Debate ended? Because I was
No, 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 no,
confused.
no. When Sean leaves the best debate,
So like 28 episodes in.
around there is where Sean starts loosening up and becoming the co-host that Dick wanted. Where Sean's opinions start becoming more and more prevalent in the actual episodes, and
I think it
especially
was kind of
after
always there. I don't know if maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but like I feel like
it's
Sean
it's
felt
always
bigger
been there.
immediately.
It's always been there,
Like he definitely
but
like maybe it was just like in scale because he definitely like quadrupled in importance from what he was in Biggest Problem,
well, yeah, of
where he would
course.
just like
But
occasionally drop in, whereas in the Dick Show he was often participating in the conversation
I'm
actively.
talking about the content of what he talks about,
Ah,
his
okay.
specific content, like his specific opinions get heavier and heavier, and he talks a lot more, and he becomes the co-host that Dick was always looking for as a
Maybe
joke. But
he didn't
like,
become Dick's co-host because he was too busy being Maddox's co-host. Because oh my god, I don't know what it was. I think maybe Sean's perfectionist nature made him like desperate to make Best Debate as good as possible in any way he could. Because Sean was like on fire on Best Debate, like he was top tier, like Sean drop in level power. Like he was at his A game on Best Debate up until like the very end of his tenure. He kind of like you could tell he was kind of getting tired of it, and then he quit. But for like the
so
first like 20 something episodes of Best Debate, it was only like his last couple where he fizzled out. He was consistently like on fire.
so what I'm getting at specifically with Sean, the audio engineer,
Yes.
um, I want to say once they started doing the live shows is also a very big turning point for Sean, where he's basically got to go and put himself out in public and be like that like I really think that like the first few live shows is where Sean realized this is a job. This is an actual thing that I am doing. It's no longer just I'm helping a friend out with audio engineering. This
I
is
think it was
something
always a
fun.
job. He was always getting paid.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it that. It's no longer just a job. What I meant is it's
It's
no
not his
longer just.
career. He's also a professional audio engineer
Oh yeah,
for
that's
like
why he's Sean the audio
Netflix.
engineer. But like,
He did the audio for
once
the
the live shows
Castlevania
start killing every
anime.
month, once the live shows start like coming in and going, and like it's like one a month or something, like one every 2 months or something like that, you really start to get a feel for how Sean feels about the world, and you get a lot of good insight from him that you never really got from the Biggest Problem or early Dick Show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like he
Uh,
comes out of his shell, and like lately, especially in like the 200, like I want to say like 175 and further, Sean is basically like a mini Dick Masterson. Not as heavy on the opinions, but definitely counters Dick on a lot of things.
his opinions
And
also are different. Yes, like the COVID thing was a big ongoing Cold War between Dick and Sean. There
I
was
will
one
say,
time.
and I know you're going to hold this against me, I had to skip 30 minutes of an episode.
What? Because it was like too COVIDy.
No, not COVID. It was the ball inflating episode.
You skipped the ball inflating?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do
What?
it. It was making me cringe so bad I had to
That's the
skip it.
funniest shit in history.
I will go now that I'm a big swinging Dick Patreoni. I will go watch the video. Is that good for you?
That's yeah, that's even
I could
better.
not
You want the
have.
video.
I couldn't have all that talk in my ear. The other
You
thing,
want a Dick slightly Dick's balls slightly off camera being syringed.
I will say also, Trixie, back then, Digibros, talking about. I think it was Digibro at the time.
I don't know. Just Trixie. She's Trixie now.
Well, no. I didn't know if it was
Yeah. We
Trixie
don't know which
or
one it is, but just she is
no, no,
Trixie.
no, 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 no. I didn't know if it was Trixie or somebody else.
Oh, who was
Anyway,
it? What do you mean?
I don't know. Somebody called in and was talking about their uncircumcised penis, and I was like,
That was
you know
her.
what?
That was her.
I'm like, you know what? No, skip. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's weird. I'm sorry. You have to
This is
realize that
insane.
that little topic right there, talking about male genitalia, is very, very not sensitive, but like very off-putting to me in my current state.
Come on, you fucker. Come on.
Like,
They're not
I don't
talking
know. It's
about
just
your dick and balls. They're talking
yeah,
about
but like
theirs.
it's weird. Like I can take like a passing comment here and there. Like the next episode where Dick was complaining about having small balls after they deflated, basically. Like that was fine. I can handle that, but I can't listen to somebody talk about this for 30 minutes when
You
it's
know,
like
that bit comes from like the reason people know about that and the reason like people mention that to Dick and then Dick asked Trixie about it was because it was a bit on her and Monkey's show.
yeah.
Like that's where she first talked about it, and Monkey, and it turned into a giant meme, and then she talked about it on the Dick Show.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I got like 10 minutes into their conversation and I was like, I got to skip this. It's very uncomfortable to listen to.
But anyway, we said we weren't going to get into super specifics about the Dick Show, and then we did just that for 45 minutes. Uh, Maddox.
Maddox.
Back to the initial question, which is, well, I guess unless it was slime time, but I don't think this is your answer. What's the best worst Maddox moment? What was the biggest
Biggest fuck up?
craziest thing that he did? Yeah.
Honestly, I know this is like an answer a lot of people are going to have. I really think it was the very, very beginning. I really think that it was the rapeless video. I really think that was his
Oh my god,
biggest,
yes. The rapeless video
funniest.
was where he failed. Like that's it. The
That was
rapeless
the immediate jump off a cliff moment for him.
yeah, he
And
was
I know
fine.
everybody
He
else
was
will have that,
fine.
but if you actually like, I know the video's taken down now. I
No, it's
think
not.
it's not.
No. It's always been unlisted. Maddox did this stupid thing where it's
And
like
do you have access to it?
not like that I can pull it up right now and give it to you, but I could probably find it later.
Are
But
you going to do that like you were going to send me the Apostrophos video, or
shut the
like?
fuck up. You could. Uh,
To be fair, Dick Masterson gained $5 a month because you refused to send me the
and also
Apostrophos
because you didn't
video.
realize that the $1 tier would get you the videos.
Well, $1 seems cheap. Okay,
Listen, I
I
give
can't.
five. I
Okay,
give five to biggest problem, so I give one to Dick.
Riely, I
Yes,
can't give $5 to a man who I've binged 300 episodes in 3 months. I can't give him $1.
true, fair,
I
100%
can't.
fair.
That's an insult in my mind.
Well, that
If
makes
you
me
go
feel
and
bad then,
watch,
because that's what I've been doing.
well, I mean, you don't have to feel bad about it. I'm not trying to put you on blast here. In my mind, I felt that the $5 tier, because I can't afford $10. I'm already paying too many $10 a month tiers. Like $10 a month gets me unlimited access to everything on Spotify, and it's different calibers. $5 seem perfectly fine for
What's
the
funny?
occasional video.
What's funny, and this might like I don't know if this would like make Dick mad if he heard it, but I was in the $5 tier for some amount of time. But I'm pretty sure for some reason or another, I just didn't listen to bonus episodes at all. And the only ever bonus episode I've listened to was one that I pirated. Like it was literally this is back in the day, back when Dick had a new project 2, his Patreon alternative that is no longer with us.
Yep. New Project 2, in terms of the chronological order of what I'm listening to, has just been dropped.
Yeah, so New Project 2 was going on, and I believe it was Jesse from Pod Awful who found like some exploit where you could access the New Project 2 bonus RSS feeds without being subscribed to the New Project 2. And I just like tried it to see if it worked, and it worked, and I just like listened to one bonus episode, and then I just never used it again. And then even though I was paying for bonus episodes, I never listened to bonus episodes because I still had so many regular ones to get through.
I've only listened to a couple. I haven't really stayed on top of the bonus episodes. I wanted to listen to the bonus episode of Slime Time just because I wanted to see the Maddox's bedroom.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which brings us back to Maddox.
But yeah, really, that video that he made about Dick was like the moment that he completely fucked, because like he was still like there,
he was still
like
big.
he was fine.
He was like, perfectly fine. Had he never gone after Dick Masterson and didn't have chump syndrome, he could
still be successful to this day.
He could be 75% of what Dick is today.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I think about it realistically, I think Maddox might be bigger because he had an established audience already.
That is fair because Dick gained his following from the
people who left Maddox. Yes,
from the lawsuit.
Exactly.
That's how Dick got.
So Maddox might be huge right now if he didn't go after Dick Masterson.
Maddox basically just gave Dick millions of dollars at that point.
It's so crazy. Just because he's so jilted from this fucking bullshit.
About 80s girl.
Because the thing is, like, he talks this big game about like being harassed or whatever, and it's like, I get it, but like, eye for an eye, motherfucker.
He's not being harassed though.
His life, even if whether he's getting harassed or not, that's not the point. I'm not saying. I think there's a difference between illegal harassment and just the word harassment. Like, harassment could be used to describe what has happened to Maddox, but not in a legal sense.
But harassment can also be described as what I did to you back in the early days, back in the golden age of PPAF.
Exactly, but I'm not going to sue you for $20 million over it.
Exactly. But like, it's crazy. It's such a good video from what I've heard. Like I've heard the video, obviously, because Dick Masterson played the video on his podcast. But like, it's so asinine and it's so ballsy to put that out there.
I did chuckle at that first joke, though. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
The video starts with Maddox has a PlayStation controller in his hand and is playing a video game, and he looks at the camera and says, "Oh, hi, I was just finishing my book."
That is kind of funny. I think the next thing, the next fuck up, outside of the rapeless video, would be not changing the passwords or not changing anything for the RSS feed. I have never laughed.
No, that's not the fuck up, because like, I don't think there's much he could have done with what he did.
No,
should have just not stolen the feed. That's the ultimate end all.
That's a big fuck up, though. He stole the feed.
Yes, that was a fuck up. He should not have stolen that feed. He should have made his.
I have never, in the history of me listening to Dick Masterson, I have never laughed so hard.
You can still use the feed. The thing is, like, he wants to use it for like promotion to try to get that audience back, but they're not going to be cool with that if you just force that podcast on them. All you had to do was make a new feed and make one more post to the biggest problem feed where it's like, hey, update. I got a new podcast now. It's called Best Debate in the Universe. Check it out. And then all the audience members who were interested would move over and check it out.
But he took the biggest problem down, used the RSS feed to flub the numbers to get sponsors. And when Dick Masterson found out about this and got access to the RSS feed, put a little message at the beginning of Biggest Debate.
That's the most legendary moment in Dick Show history. That fucking
debate message. I had to listen to it like I listened to that episode, like not the full episode, but like that little clip at least 4 or 5 times because I could not stop laughing.
This video had such a laugh
gall that this man has.
this
to
clip had
go
such a
after
lasting
him.
impression on me that back when we were all in our sound mod era, one of my sound effects, which you probably heard a couple times and didn't understand, was a snippet of Dick Masterson calling Maddox a fucking idiot from that video. I just had it in my sound mod ready, just that the when he screams, "You fucking idiot!"
That's amazing. But like those are the two most noticeable. Like I don't want to like I've already said I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the lawsuit because it's been covered by so many people to the point where it's just exhausted at this
Well, the thing
point.
about the lawsuit is like the quick and dirty of it is just like it's a fucking crazy thing to think of that this even went to court because it's
Now,
so
I haven't had a chance
asinine.
to sit down and talk with you. I would like to move on from Maddox for a minute
Okay.
onto Kevin Landau.
Oh
One of
boy.
I believe he is the second biggest lolcow to ever exist on the internet. And he's not even a part of the internet itself. It's just the fact that he
Well,
associated
I
with
mean, when you say the
Maddox.
internet, I think you mean the Dick Show, really.
Well, yeah, but that's basically the internet at
For
this point.
you,
Like
yeah.
for me anyway.
I
It's like my whole
I would
world.
say
But
Landau has been surpassed by Eric July, but he's definitely still in the top of Lolcow. Like
the
Maddox will always be number one, but I think Eric July gets number two over Landau. But still, he's still high up there.
fucking Landau. And then one of the biggest contributors to to, to like the lolcowiness of those two. Well, I would like to say two of the biggest towards Maddox specific. Well, to Maddox and Landau that surfaced during the lawsuit were Madcox and Kendall and Hyde, who makes music. And I honestly think, and I know I've said this before, I really think that the music that bashes stupid shit that goes on in the podcast, whether it's aimed at Dick for what he says, clips of whatever Sean says in the previous episode, or during the lawsuit going after Maddox and Landau with like Bicycle Boys.
Oh yes. Oh, Bicycle Boys.
Riely, when I tell you that I'm a big music nut, I love music. Music is the music that the fans made that Dick plays have basically kept me going through this episode, through like episode to episode, basically. And it's not
He
like the
never played
only
my
thing.
song. Rest in peace.
It's not like the only thing. It's not like, oh well, I gotta listen to this whole podcast to get to the music. It's well,
Dick
I
Masterson
wonder
cucked me out of my fame.
what did
That
you send a song?
motherfucker.
You
I
sent a
sent a,
song in?
I sent in a song, and then on a Twitch stream, I mentioned that I sent in a song, and he said he was going to play the song on the Dick Show, and then he didn't.
I mean, he gets like he gets a bunch of songs sent in
No,
every
I don't
week,
actually
though.
care, but I just think it's funny that like he said, yeah, I'll play it on the show, and then he didn't play it on the show, and I was crushed. I
You
was
should have
like,
called in about it instead. You want to know what my rage is? Not
you
having
didn't
my
play my
fucking song
fucking
played.
song, probably because it was awful and sounded awful, but you should have played it
But
anyway.
like Madcucks and Kendall and Hyde, and then like especially with when you're turning to music, going after basically clipping Dick Masterson and like things that he says is Hard Men Working Hard as well. That's another group on the show. But like the music is great. But back to Madcucks and Kendall and Hyde, they really took like quickly rose to fame with just imitating Maddox as Madcucks, which was great hearing about the stories that they did in hold on. Okay. I want to make sure I'm not being too loud down here. Anyway, I'm rambling. But yeah, the music is great. But like Landau and Bicycle Boys with
And
Kendall and
what you might
Hyde.
not know is Landau. There was a return of Landau quite recently.
Really?
Landau became a matter of contention again because Landau filed a legal claim to get the domain kevinalandau.com, which belongs to Dick Masterson and has a page about how Kevin Landau is the worst lawyer. He filed to legally have it taken down and have that domain stripped from Dick Masterson, and he won.
Oh, he won?
Yes. So there was a lot of recent and bitter Kevin Landau content.
And that was recent, right?
Yes, this was right before Eric July broke. That was like the current Dick Show arc. Before and during also the Eric July stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. See, all the stuff that's
The
happening now
return of Landau.
makes me
Revenge of the
really
Landau.
like go after the podcast, but like the podcast as a whole is great and it's amazing. And to
It's
any of you
yeah.
listeners out there who have not experienced it, I highly recommend it.
If you're crazy enough to have never heard the Dick Show and yet still be here right now, go listen to the Dick Show. What are you doing?
I will say, I'm not going to say who it was because I don't want to put them on blast on this podcast, but I've interacted with someone who I used to be friends with back in the day, and
Uh-huh.
they mentioned something that made me bring up like the Dick Show or Dick Masterson. They
Ooh,
said
and they knew
something.
about him?
Um, no, that's where I'm getting at. I'm like, they said something, and I'm like, oh, do you know Dick Masterson? And they're like, no, who's that? And I'm like, okay, do you know what? I'm like, because I asked them, I'm like, oh, do you listen to the Dick Show? Because I guess they made like a reference or something to it. I was like, oh, do you listen to the Dick Show?
They probably made a reference to something that Dick made a reference to, which you thought was a reference to the Dick Show, but in reality, it was on the Dick Show a reference to something else.
No. Listen. I asked them if they know about the Dick Show, and they said, what's that? I'm like, well, it's a show hosted by Dick Masterson. Do you know who Dick Masterson is? And they said, no. I'm like, okay. So I go down the list to the next option. I'm like, well, do you know who Maddox is? And they say, yes.
Oh,
And I'm like, you've never heard of Dick Masterson? And they're like, no. I'm like,
no, there are a lot of people like that. Maddox's primary audience was people who just read his articles on his website, and he was very bad historically at advertising Biggest Problem in the Universe. There are plenty of
yeah,
Maddox fans
that's
who
what's
don't
crazy.
know who
I
Dick
didn't even
Masterson
know.
is.
I didn't even know because my next question, when they said I don't know who Dick Masterson is, I said, do you know about Biggest Problem in the Universe? They're like, I've never heard of that before. I'm like, but you know who Maddox is? And they're like, yeah. I'm like,
Maddox was also like
oh, that's crazy.
Maddox was around. You have to understand. It's probably hard to just consider when you
Oh
don't think about it in
no.
this
I
light.
know he's been
Maddox had
around
been
since
around for
before
15
Google was a thing or
years before
whatever.
Biggest
Yeah,
Problem.
I'm
Yeah,
very aware of how long he's been around. I mean, Dick Masterson has been around for just as long in the span of
that's true.
time,
But
basically.
he was not like huge.
No, he
Like
wasn't huge. He got
his
his
thing
rise
was
to
like
fame
his
from
thing was he
Dr.
was on
Phil.
Dr. Phil once, and that was really funny. But Maddox like had a brand and like was consistently producing content that people were consistently consuming. Like Maddox was an internet guy, whereas Dick Masterson was this like funny guy who had a satirical website that he turned into a book and went on Dr. Phil and trolled people on Dr. Phil.
Yeah, which I
But
still haven't read, like, all the way through yet. I'm a
I'm
little
almost
ashamed.
done. I've been reading it slowly but surely.
It's
I'm
not that I don't
almost
like it,
done.
it's I think it would have been better if I didn't know that it was a joke. Well, I shouldn't say joke, it's satire.
Truth through satire is what Dick Masterson says. Like so,
Exactly.
a lot of it is exaggerated, but I mean, I've been willing to acknowledge in public conversations with Demi Gloom, who is a detractor of Dick Masterson, that I would consider Dick Masterson some level of misogynist, just not any more misogynist than like your average 40-something man, your average 40-something like generally conservative-ish but not crazy about it man.
Of course, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he actively tells the joke anytime a news babe doesn't show a news girl doesn't show up. He says the wage gap monster got her.
Yeah, the
Like,
wage gap monster. Yeah, of course.
fucking wage gap monster. The wage gap monster did take two of our guests this weekend, or one of our guests for this episode.
Wow. Rest in peace.
Rest in
Just
peace.
got
I'm
chewed up
sorry.
and spit out by the rage gap monster.
They joined the Discord. They were gonna hop in, and then the wage gap monster got them.
Got right up in there.
But like, I always laugh whenever the wage cat monster shows up because I'm just like, it's so funny that it's like you can't be mad about it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But like he's just as misogynistic as any other 40-year-old man is, like you said. So
Yeah. That's the thing. But
like
yeah,
I
like
don't
there are a
hold it
lot of
against
people who
him. He was
know
very like when you first introduced me and back in the original when we first started talking about this was my problem with Dick Masterson from original biggest problem in the first 7
was
episodes
misogyny.
was the misogyny. I couldn't get past it. I was like, this is just it's a consistent thing. Every sentence that comes out of his mouth has to do with broads and everything like that. I've come to like just Dick Masterson, obviously. I think he's very, very funny. I find his content very appealing and very hilarious. So,
Yeah, because jokes are funny.
are we coming up on time?
I mean,
It is.
time is a nebulous thing, Alex. We came up on time like an hour and a half ago if we're talking brass tacks, but we're
Well,
flowing.
I know we're flowing. I'm sorry to kill that flow. It's 12 o'clock. I don't work tomorrow. So this was more so just are we coming up on your time?
I mean, we'll probably wrap up soon just because we've been going on for a long time, but like I'm not in
Okay.
any rush.
Well, let's continue then.
But shit, what were we talking about?
We went off on a tangent. Let's get back to the Lolcows.
Okay. Well, now I feel like there was something left unsaid on that tangent. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember where we
there was
were.
I was talking about how Dick Masterson is a used to
Oh
be a
yeah, yeah,
very
no, no, I
big
remember what I was gonna
misogynist,
say.
but
Like
now it's
a lot
just
of
like
people
a
know this is also relevant to Maddox as a lolcow. Like people know about Maddox without knowing about all that shit. Like
yeah.
that's the thing is he had such a presence before that point that like there are a lot of people who just like yeah Maddox. I remember reading his articles back in 2005, but they have
Not
no
even just that,
idea.
but like the other thing, especially when it came out about when Dick Masterson did the whole takeover of the stolen RSS feed, a lot of
There
people
were a lot of
messaged
people
him
that didn't know.
saying, "I didn't even know you had a show." And like, yeah, it's crazy.
There was actually a story that somebody told on the Dick show. I believe it was Dick, where I don't remember what the circumstances were. I think it had to do with a live show he was doing in tandem with Carl. But apparently he had an interaction with a woman where like the drama came up, like some sort of like internet drama stuff came up. And she asked about it, and he said something about old internet, and the woman's response was, "Oh yeah, so like Homestar Runner or Maddox." And she had no idea that she was talking to the man who killed Maddox when she said this.
I mean, Dick Masterson basically killed Maddox, but
Yeah,
Maddox helped him.
he absorbed his power and became stronger.
Like, if you want to put like this whole Dick Masterson Maddox situation, Dick Masterson killed Maddox, but Maddox helped him do it.
Yeah, Maddox helped him guide the knife to the most fatal point.
Like that's the best. That's like the most simplest way you could put it, and it's crazy to think about. But like, it's also crazy to think that a lot of people listening to the show around the time that I've been listening, like around the time that I've been listening, have been experiencing everything weekly. I'm experiencing I'm experiencing it one after another. So intrigued to I'm intrigued to see how my perception on things will change once this podcast and biggest problem once the Dick Show and biggest problem become weekly for me. You know what I mean?
Yes, it'll be a new perspective.
Because like I'm going ham like 300 episodes a month. It's ridiculous amount of That's a ridiculous
Well,
amount of
100
content.
episode a month in 3 months, so 300 total. You said 300 a month. I don't think that's
I've had
physically
a
possible.
You know that bottle of wine that was brought up at the beginning of the episode?
Empty,
Yeah, it's
cleared.
gone. It's long gone. Yeah, it's long gone, bud.
But yeah, like we didn't quite finish this thought earlier, so I just want to say, yeah,
Okay,
the
continue.
the
Yeah.
video. This is like way back, like to take us back to an hour ago, I think. The video that he made about Dick was just like it was so disingenuous and such an obvious slime ball attempt to ruin his reputation for this like jilted revenge bullshit that like that was it for him. Like at that moment everyone lost respect for him. Like he was losing steam a little bit, but he definitely could have gotten that steam back because he was not in a position where he was failing. Like he had an established audience. He had people working with him. He still had Sean. He had Rucka. Rucka was a big name. I think Randy was still his producer. Like I think Randy was playing both sides for a while. And like he was doing shit. And then he decided to make that fucking video, and make all these bullshit claims, fucking misconstrue out of context quotes to make it sound like Dick Masterson's some sort of monster that he isn't. Just like how completely just like meticulous and calculated idiocy this was, that like just took anybody who remained on Maddox's side, besides people who just weren't aware of it, to just move to the Dick camp immediately.
That what you just said, the meticulous planning, that takes me to the newest thing that Maddox just dropped like a few weeks ago with
Yeah,
the
the Justin Wang video that he spent years on, and we can prove that by the fact that, by like the dates of the screenshots and shit, that he
not
spent
even
years making this video.
not even just years, but like Dick Masterson literally goes on Twitter and says, "Look how fat he is. He must have
He
taken
got
months.
fatter.
He's must
Yes.
have taken months to do this." He ordered the hat and wig off Amazon, which means he was working on it for at least multiple weeks. Like, and that was the first thing he released in over a year, I believe.
Well, he released one article about the Beatles, and then, but other than that, yeah,
And
he
like,
he he made a
he's
return just
so
before he did this. He made a
ridiculous, and
tactical
especially
return.
if you go on that video, which has not been taken down or privated, by
Oh
the way.
no, oh no, he's proud of that one.
He's
He
proud
was.
of it, but he's still continuing to sit there and delete any little negative thing about him
He's always done that.
everywhere.
He's ready to do
He's
that
always
because
done that ever since the rapeless video.
he had to do it when he had a fucking weekly podcast that was going on YouTube. He had to sit there and delete all the comments because all the comments were Maddox lost, Dick.show, patreon.com/Asterios.
I would like to say, go off on another little tangent here. My other favorite thing that Dick Masterson did to Maddox was start using Maddox's voting system on his website to
Oh, that
determine
was
things on his
genius. That
own
was so
podcast.
genius. That was so hilarious.
He's like, all right, if you guys want this or that, you're gonna go to bestdebate.com or Maddox's website, wherever the fuck he puts it.
Madcastmedia.com.
He's like, wherever, well, he doesn't say Madcast Media, he says wherever Maddox puts his shit. And he goes, so you're gonna click
No,
left.
he definitely. I definitely remember him saying madcastmedia.com as he was
Okay.
telling people to vote.
Okay. But he literally goes, all right, you're gonna click left if you want this, and you're gonna click right if you want this. And he's literally using Maddox's voting system to determine things on it on the Dick Show podcast, which I thought was one of the greatest trolls of all time.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Chef's kiss stuff. But yeah, Maddox, I think, is a classic example of a lolcow. Just like the rise and fall, the rise, fall, and decay.
I still can't imagine having to see the rise, fall, and decay over multiple years. Like, I feel like that would drive me crazy. but it
Yeah.
would also make me tune in every single week just to find out what's going on now. You know what I mean? Because I've
Yeah.
seen the rise, fall, and mockery of Maddox through Biggest Problem in the Dick Show over the course of 3 months.
I still find it's so symbolic to me that there was an intense argument about Maddox's cuckold video in the not the final episode of Biggest Problem, but the final real episode of Biggest Problem, like where Dick was there and it was a regular episode. Was
Yeah,
Maddox had just put out his "There's Nothing Inherently Wrong with Being a Cuck" video, and they had an argument about it. And that turned out to be the last time they ever interacted.
I will.
And
What is your favorite problem that was brought up in original Biggest Problem?
I mean, for ironic reasons, libertarian theory.
Oh, with the HOA?
Yeah.
I just got past the I just listened to where Vermin Supreme, the guy with the boot on his head who's running for president, called in,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
he agreed to a point with Maddox saying that the HOA is a libertarian government, and after he hung up, Dick Masterson goes, "Well, that was fucking stupid. I mean, everybody knows that." I guess I owe him an apology, but like in theory, it's not correct. Like he's trying to disprove the Libertarian Party nominee
It's pretty good.
for president, but like I wasn't expecting. I've
Also,
never consumed Vermin Supreme. That guy's great. He's still running, by the way. He's still doing shit.
hell yeah. But I think another one of my favorite problems, to get less ironic and get into like genuine favorite problem, I think Bro Downs has always been a huge highlight for me.
Oh, with the
With the
party?
oranges, yeah.
Yes, that was great. I was cracking up laughing.
That's what I showed my best friend Patrick when I wanted to show him Biggest Problem. I showed him the Bro Downs episode, and he was super into it.
Your best friend?
Yeah,
Your best friend?
my platonic boy. Listen,
There you go.
the term
There you
changes.
go. No, the term never changes. Your platonic boyfriend.
My heterosexual life partner.
Your nesting partner. I'm just gonna get a message and be like, "Hey, I can't come up to Ohio this year." I'm gonna be like, "Why?" And you're gonna be like, "Yeah, Patrick and I got an apartment together."
Yeah, we're getting married. Here's my
Well, not even
engagement
just
ring.
married. You guys are just gonna be roommates.
Nah,
All right, I think
he's
we should wrap up because the wine's hitting me a lot harder than I thought, and I'm starting to get
yeah. I was
sleepy.
about to ask, are we done with Maddox? Because like, yeah, we could go into him all day. But real quick, I wanted to go through a speed round of Lolcows that I know off the top of my head that we didn't mention.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot
go
of
ahead.
which I am remembering from, funnily enough, Asterios' podcast, because Sriracha talks about a lot of the trendy Lolcows. There's
Oh,
Russell
Sarancha.
Sriracha, yes. Sriracha is interchangeable with her. I don't know what she prefers. I call her Sriracha because that's what I always heard when
Oh
I
yeah,
first
because
met
I
her.
believe it's Sriracha because that's what
But like they
Asterios
also
calls her.
Asterios
But a
calls her
lot of
Sriracha
people.
sometimes. Other people call her Sriracha. It's weird. I don't know what she prefers, but I just say Sriracha.
Anyway,
So
continue.
yeah,
Continue.
there's Russell Greer, who is a guy. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy. But his bit is that he sues celebrity women all the time. Because they like won't fall in love with him, basically. Like his origin story is that he wrote Taylor Swift like a love song, and he tried to send Taylor Swift his love song that he wrote for Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift's like manager or agents or whatever is like, we can't accept outside music, and we're not going to give it to Taylor. And Russell Greer was very mad about this, and he ended up suing Taylor Swift over this for some reason. And from there, it was just like a downward spiral of him, like, I guess, trying to write love songs for celebrities and then suing them when they won't listen to his love song. Basically, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's the general premise of Russell Greer. And also he lives in a place where prostitution is legal, and he does a lot of hooker sex. like
Okay.
like Chris the Kiwi, except
I was just about to say Chris the Kiwi.
instead of
Sorry,
DMing
Kiwi Chris. It's Kiwi Chris for me right now.
yeah, Chris the Kiwi, Chris, it doesn't matter. It's interchangeable. But Chris the Kiwi Shit.
One of the biggest lolcows on in Dick Show history.
I got blocked by him. It was the ultimate honor.
Really?
Yes, because I kicked him out of a Discord temporarily at Jesse PS's instruction.
Did he threaten you?
I don't think he threatened me, but I think he called me like a dumb fuck or like some level of
He didn't threaten to
angry.
cut your tits off or
He
anything
did
like
not
that?
threaten to cut my tits off. No. But
That's another person I kinda wanna get on, but I'm a little fearful of,
a little
like,
fearful. Yeah, sure.
well, because, like, you know, I you're calling me Alex and you're calling me she, so, like, there's some DMs that may or may not be involved. I don't know how far he
Oh,
goes, so, like, I don't really want videos over Discord of him jerking off, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't wanna have to deal with that. Maybe eventually. Maybe if we can try and get him on, I feel like that would
He'll make us pay
be kinda
him. He
funny.
makes Dick pay him to
Oh,
come on his show.
I know. I'm very aware.
But yeah, Chris the Kiwi.
I got $10.
Russell
I
Greer is
got
like Chris the
$10. If he wants to come on for 20 minutes, I got $10, buddy.
Russell Greer is like Chris the Kiwi, except instead of DMing random women on the internet, he tries to write love songs for celebrities.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
And then there's Nathan Masery, who is the founder of Garfield Eats, which you might have seen around on the internet at some point. It was a very short-lived Garfield-themed pizza and lasagna restaurant, and the food was awful. And Nathan's like marketing for it was like batshit insane. So he rose a lot of eyes on the internet. Many internet creators, including Asterios and Sriracha, made a lot of content covering his silliness. He eventually got he lost his first location. He lost his second location first to just because like it didn't work out. He had two locations. One of them closed, and then the other one he got like kicked out for not paying rent. And then he like went on this rampage about how his landlord was an evil monster. And like it was this whole like crazy saga with Garfield Eats, which did eventually end with Nathan Masery getting his Garfield licensing rights revoked.
Okay. Next one.
So that's not Nathan Masery. I guess we got to touch on. I think Ethan Ralph counts. You haven't reached a lot of his lolcowery yet in your chronological timeline. I don't know if you have or not. I'm not sure. But like he's insane. He's most of the time he seems like he's drug addled. I know he was sober for a while and he regained his powers, but I think he's back on the stuff for what I've seen. But yeah, he's insane. He's crazy. I think his lowest moment was his physical conflict with the Void Gazers gang, which is Trixie and Riely and Mint Salad and Bird Stork. They were like all like living together and shit for a while. And Trixie's ex fiance May cheated on her with Ethan Ralph and then left her for Ethan Ralph.
Okay.
And then Ethan Ralph, there was a night where May had to come over and get her stuff, and Ralph came with her. And then Ralph got all big and tough at the doorway, and it turned into a physical fight between him and Riely.
Interesting.
It was intense. It was crazy. And Mint Salad beat the shit out of him. It was hilarious. Like it got everybody except for Trixie got involved. Like it was mainly Riely, but like Bird came in and got a couple hits in. Mid Salad wailed on him. It was fucking crazy. Absolute unit, Mid Salad. But yeah, he went crazy and got into a fight with Riely at the doorway of their house. There was a point where he like sucker punched him, like he tricked him, because like the fight was like winding down. And Ralph was like, "Hold on, I dropped my phone. I gotta find my phone." And Riely was graciously willing to cooperate in helping him find his phone, but then it was just a ploy to distract him so he could get a sucker punch in.
Okay.
So yeah, Ethan Ralph is a big asshole. He's an insane, drug-addled man who burned all of his bridges for a long time and just completely spurged out and went mad. Recently, he had a little bit of a redemption arc. He was going after Nick Fuentes and America First, and a lot of people were behind him. He kind of mended some of his old bridges. But see, from what I've heard whispers of him going back to his old ways, but I don't know. A lot of what I hear about Ethan Ralph is from Dick Masterson, and a lot of that is positive. But then I hear like fringe from other places, like maybe Ralph isn't doing so hot right now.
Okay.
So yeah, that's another one. Ethan Ralph, very famous lolcow. I think if there's anybody else really important that is on the tip of my tongue.
I think we covered a lot of the ones surrounding the Dick show, honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more like general ones.
Outside of
I guess
the
there's Boogie, who's kind of Dick Show related, but
Boogie has
only
shown
much
up.
later.
I
Yeah,
don't know much about Boogie. Um,
Boogie was this big YouTuber for a long time. He had a very public mental breakdown. He's basically a lolcow because he's like an insane person, and he publishes all of his insanity on the internet, and that
um,
hires him for being made fun of. His role in the Dick Show is that he was being eyed as the co-host for the Biggest Problem
he was the
reboot, but he
first
backed out.
one. He was the first
Yes,
one to be eyed for the Biggest Problem reboot.
because it all happened on a live stream. We weren't ready for it. I was on this train. I wanted it to happen. I didn't even know who Boogie was. I had heard his name. I thought he was dead because there's a meme where people claim that he's dead and it's not true. And I saw that meme once and didn't know what he was, so I thought he was just a guy who died. But it turns out he was not a guy who died. He was a guy who gets made fun of constantly, and people pretend he died for as a joke. But uh, he him and Dick Masterson both went on Nerd Wars, Andy Signore's like
Yeah, yeah,
podcast, and their debate chemistry was so electric that like so many people were like, "This is Biggest Problem," and Dick
yeah.
was like, "Oh shit, you're right." And he tried to make it happen, but Boogie's just too much of an unstable, crazy person, and just refused to go through with it for a variety of reasons, including he's a massive pussy who doesn't go through with any of his commitments, and also the fact that he's friends with Maddox, and Maddox told him he shouldn't do it, and he listened to him.
All right, we are 2.5 hours in. I think we should wrap it up.
All right, gamers, thank you
Um,
for
I've
listening.
consumed. Well, I was going to give you a reason. I've
Oh, good.
consumed an entire bottle of wine, and I have not stood up this entire podcast. So I'm sure the minute, and I have to go up 2 flights of stairs. So while I am still conscious, I would like to be able to get to bed.
Understandable.
I don't know how it's going to hit when I stand up. So, um, while I'm still conscious, I would like to wrap this up so I can go to bed.
Well, Alex, where can they find you?
Uh, if you were listening on the YouTube channel,
That's
obviously
it.
you can find me here. I do have a Twitter. You can go follow me on Twitter as Colochu54. Honestly, if you just Google COLOCHU on Google, you can find me everywhere. I believe if you go Google Colochu, the first result is my YouTube channel. So
There you go.
youtube.com/Colochu54.
Go to linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe. It's in the description. It's on my Twitter in the pinned tweet at Riely Tweets. That's linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe. It's got all your links to all the podcasts and YouTubes and shit that I do on the internet, except for a new thing that I do that's not in that link tree yet. I have a TikTok now. Everybody follow me on TikTok at Riely414.
Ooh,
It's just clips from my YouTube right now. I don't know if that's going to be what it is forever. If maybe I'll make original content for it. But either way, if you've ever wanted to see like maybe one of my scripted videos, it's a half hour long, but you have nowhere near that kind of time. You can see a little clip on TikTok at Riely414.
I gotta get into TikTok. I do have a TikTok. If you want to go follow me, it's Colochu54. Look, Riley, I've really turned Colochu basically into a brand. I've branded it all over the internet. So
Hell yeah. Folks, thank you for listening to Detour Ahead. Sorry this one was very niche, but hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.
I would like to say one final thing.
Sure.
If you've made it this far, obviously you seem somewhat interested in the ramblings of Riely and I. One, obviously go check out some of the older episodes if you haven't already.
Like, comment, and subscribe. We're on YouTube now. I forgot we had to say YouTube things. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Of course. But like if you've made it this far and you're listening to me shill, I've like a lot of the stuff we've talked about is exclusive to the original biggest problem in the universe with Maddox and Dick Masterson. Including a lot of people that we talked about are from the Dick Show, which can be found on Spotify. If any of this interested you, is like if you made it this far, you're either a fan already, or if it interests you at all, I would highly suggest, and that's coming from me, who has massively consumed 300 episodes in 3 months, maybe 4, but probably 3 to 4 months. Go check it out. It's really entertaining, and that's coming from me. It's like the fun. Like I've never laughed so hard at some of the content that has been produced, even by like the fans of the show. It's amazing. Like I cannot get enough. And like if I could, I would make every single episode just a recap of the past 10 to 20 episodes I listened to that week, or of the past week, and just I would love to just consistently talk about this show because there's so much to talk about and everything like that. Go listen to it. If you made it this far, go listen to it. It's well worth it. Skip around if you'd like, but there's a lot of good content there. Like Riely, I'm shilling for the Dick Show. I know I am, but like if anybody is listening to me saying any of this, obviously they're intrigued by it. The stuff we've talked about today. So
fair. But all right, folks. See you next week.
See you next week, everybody. Goodbye. Get out of here. Get out of here.